Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me, Leon. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well.
Good to hear. Controversy, Leon. It seems like we have it week in, week out when we have a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, every week, right? I mean, it just this one seems a little. I was a little bit more taken aback by the controversy in this one, personally. I mean, it seems to be a split between. Although I've seen a few more Brits, there seems to be a lot of Yanks who have gone off the deep end on this. But lots of people seem to think it's like one of the biggest robberies of all time. I just don't.
Yeah, usually
you've got fucking basketball players, fucking American footballers, and all this shit. All these mad casuals screaming robbery, and I just don't see it.
Usually, on controversial fights like this, I don't personally think it was controversial. I thought Horn won, but the guys on the pod, normally there's one guy that's got it the other way, but over the weekend when I spoke to all you guys, like, everyone had Horn winning. None of us had Pacquiao winning the fight.
We all had pretty much the same scorecards, though, didn't we? It was all 7-5.
Yeah.
No one's saying this is not a close fight. Like, it was a close fight, but I just thought Pacquiao lacked so much commitment in those first 6-7 rounds. He was obviously touching him, but it just didn't seem to be having a huge effect. And then we come to 8 and 9, and then Pacquiao really comes into the fight, doesn't he? Because he's beating him up in those rounds.
Yeah, he came back into it, but it was a bit too little too late for me by then. Early on, he just seemed uncomfortable. Like, Horn technically, technique-wise and maybe skill-wise, he wasn't on point, but tactically he was great. You heard his corner. Well, I did anyway, on the Box Nation commentary. They kept saying, keep moving to your left, keep moving. And that's all he had to do. Like, Pacquiao almost wanted him just to stand still and be a stationary target, and he wasn't having any of it, and he kept moving. He was fidgety, he was throwing lots of shots, and he wasn't letting Pacquiao settle. Like, he'd throw like 4 or 5 shots, and Pacquiao to reset, bang his gloves as he does, and he's trying to went after him. And I said it in the Vargas fight, we've seen this decline in Pacquiao's output the last couple of years. Slowly, he used to be into the thousands, then it was like the high hundreds, and now, like, his punch output is nowhere near where it used to be, and that really got exploited in this fight because he was just 1-2, and maybe a hook here and there, but like, he didn't have any variety, man. It was all just like 1 or 2 shots, possibly 3, and nothing more.
And is it me, or he just didn't seem to be willing to lead, did he? I felt that he wasn't willing to be the first person to engage.
You know what, though? You're right, but I think he wasn't allowed to. Like, Horn was always beating.
Yeah.
Horn was always beating him to the punch, man. Like, Pacquiao, it seemed like he was about to throw it, and then he'd have to defend something coming back. Like, Horn really unsalted him, man. I was happy for Horn because, like, no one expected this. Like, we didn't even have a show last week because, on the eve of big fights, we always have a chemo special, and like, none of the lads were really interested because we didn't really see this as a competitive fight. I've seen Horn twice before, and I wasn't really impressed with him, and I just think tactically he got it spot on. His work rate was good. He did fade, but he did enough early on to take the fight, in my opinion. I had it 7-5. I could even see 8-4. I don't really see a draw in it unless you're giving, like, Pacquiao every close round, and having Pacquiao winning, not for me personally.
Yeah, it's the same here, and I just think that it's weird, isn't it? Like, it was one of those boxing stat weekends, and you see these boxing stats that are kind of got top rank logos on it and stuff, and it's just, I don't know about you, but boxing stats, that's just one man pressing a button, or maybe they got a couple of men pressing buttons.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much to me. That's like after the fact kind of stuff.
A couple of years ago,
watching.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Just watching. You got to go on what you're seeing, and Pacquiao didn't look like he was in control in that fight for long periods.
Yeah, like a good couple of years ago, I started to ignore punch stats just totally because of your argument. Like, it's one or a couple of people pressing buttons. It depends where they sit in. It depends, like, if they even know boxing. We don't know who these people pressing buttons are, from one angle a punch looks like it landed, another it doesn't. It's how you see the flow of a fight, and early on the flow of the fight was going towards Horn, in my opinion.
I agree, and look, he did some pretty, he was pretty rough in there, wasn't he, with the head and stuff and pulling Pacquiao down. And I don't like that when other fighters do that. So you can't sit here and say I really enjoyed his style, but he wasn't willing to lose that fight. I think he was getting beaten up in those late rounds, and he fucking bit down and fucking stood in there and took the shots he had to take, and I think he just did enough to win it.
Yeah. The elbows and the use of the head, I think people are going a bit over the top with it. You have to remember it was a southpaw facing an orthodox opponent, and we see it in a lot of head clashes. And Pacquiao himself, he lunges in with his backhand, and he's quite open to kind of ducking low. So if he ducks low and then Horn comes over the top with a shot, the elbow is going to hit the top of the head and stuff like that, and maybe engage in the clinch. It's quite easy to happen. So. Yeah, I just thought it's clear for Horn, and props to him. I had a conversation with Dan earlier, and Leon, I don't know if you agree, but I kind of see this as karma coming back to Pacquiao, in the sense of, Shams just said it in the chat, the cherry pick kind of blew up in his face, because there's a lot better opponents that he could have fought. I know. Yeah,
and they must... sorry, carry on, Cam.
Yeah, just gonna say, we heard Broner turned him down. He was upset with the money. We heard Danny Garcia turn him down, but Crawford was there. Dan was saying to me where Crawford wanted it at a catch weight. I've not read that anywhere. If he did, so what? He fought Algeria at a catch weight. Pacquiao is the bigger A side, but. I would personally believe that Crawford would go to 147. He's almost there anyway, to fight Pacquiao. And Pacquiao didn't want to do that, handing over the torch to the next generation like De La Hoya did it to him. And I just think it's karma coming back to him. He's in a tricky situation, rematch, and then what? It's a bad luck losing to Horn, man.
It's a bad look. Is he in a tricky situation? He's coming to the end of his career. He could just retire. He's made enough money, although I don't know where it's all gone. But he's made enough money from the sport. Do you want to retire? Do you want to retire on a loss to Jeff Horn though? But he should have fucking retired before. I don't think he should have been carry on. He should have gone after beating Vargas. For me, I think that's just or a couple of fights ago. He should. He just looked a shadow of himself. I mean, Crawford would have picked him apart, wouldn't he? That Pacquiao that turned up to fight Horn. I mean, I think Crawford could have stopped him.
Possibly.
Yeah. Because, I know that, I thought Horn even hurt him at one point in those early rounds. Was it 3 or 4? And, but he wasn't in any much more, he wasn't as in bad a trouble as Pacquiao put him in later on, but he was definitely a faded fighter.
Yeah, and I don't want to just bash Pac because there's no one really here fighting his corner and thinking he's won the fight, so I don't want it to sound like we're just all.
But don't worry, there's plenty of people out there, screaming blue murder over this. When I woke up on I didn't watch it live. I watched it just, I got up straight away, watched it. And then I just went on Twitter, and I was shocked by it. I was shocked by the reaction. It seems, although definitely seems to be a US, rest of the world split. I've seen a lot more people from outside of the US.
Well, that's a good segue.
Not having a problem with this fight.
That's a good segue. I'm a big fan of Teddy Atlas, and I've not heard the fight with the ESPN commentary. I just heard it as you did with the Box Nation, Barry Jones and John Rawling, but. I do think a lot of people maybe were swayed by the commentary because from the feedback I've got back from people that saw it with the ESPN commentary is that Teddy and the rest of the crew were heavily favouring and being more positive about the work Manny was doing. So I honestly think that has a lot to do with this kind of divide in opinions. Yeah,
I think you're right, but look, I'm not saying that that this wasn't a close fight, and that if you'd scored it 7-5 to Pacquiao, I could see that. I know you were saying you couldn't. I could see that potentially, but this 8-4, 9-3 kind of stuff is just. I think it just seems ludicrous to me. 9-3, only 3 rounds to Horn. That's what some people were saying.
Nah, like I thought the first 3 were clear to Horn.
Yes, same here. I had him way up by halfway, and I think Pacquiao did well to come back and make it close on my card.
Yeah,
but you could see it being scored slightly for some slightly cleaner punch. He did land a few clean punches in those early rounds, but he was doing very little. Cam, he was doing. I know that again, these punches that seem to suggest he was throwing lots and lots of punches. Didn't feel that way to me.
Yeah, and I thought early that his accuracy and his distance was off a bit. It's only like later on in 7th onwards where he started to land a bit cleaner. And that round 9 was good though. That was a fun round for Pacquiao. And I know some people maybe have scored that at 10-8. I thought it was still a 10-9 round. It was a big round for Pacquiao, but still a 10-9 for me.
No, 10-8. You've got to be getting bashed around like a kind of like the Walking Dead, And I don't. He was hurt, but he went into survival mode. But the ref was trying to stop it, wasn't it? And then he came over in the 10th and was saying do something again. It's like he fucking won the 10th.
He was
the ref was weird, man.
Yeah, I don't like that ref, man. But
no.
Mark Nelson, but Horn did really well in the 10th, man. Like this. You're thinking the pressure he was on in the 9th, the referee's kind of saying he might stop it, and he came out and won that round clearly, man. I was impressed.
Yeah, well, the ref said something to it, and his cornerman said he won that. Do you see that in the corner? He go, no, he won that round. He won that round. Yeah. Don't come over here. Yeah. It was strange. I just think there's also a bit of kind of boxing snobbery around him being where he's from and maybe his style slightly, but he was a bit of a spoiler, but spoilers have been winning fights, haven't they, recently? So,
yeah,
he showed some real grit as well to stay in there and make sure he was there at the end because, there's been people being over the summer. There's been a lot of people being called a quitter, and he didn't show any quit. So you've got to give him some credit for that.
Yeah, but calling out Mayweather.
Not saying you don't score rounds. I'm not going to score rounds for him because of that or any of that bollocks. I'm talking about the overall performance.
Yeah, but I don't want to see him versus Pacquiao. But Naoto jumps on the line. Naoto,
is he in the bath?
Yo,
what are you drinking? You're drinking something.
Oh shit! You could hear that?
Yep.
Damn. I guess I was just so thirsty that it went all the way over the mic.
Shit. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
I think this is gonna get worse because you scored it wider for Horn than me and Leon. So the Pacquiao fans are not gonna be happy when they hear your view. But what was your take on the Horn?
The Pacquiao fans are never happy whenever they hear my view. So I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, I think that's just
along with the Lomachenko fans and the Rigondeaux fans and all.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Exactly. But
people will start thinking you're a troll.
What was that?
I said people might start thinking you're a troll.
Oh yeah, no, never that though.
I know.
Always honest with it. Yeah. But yeah, I scored it 9-3 for Jeff Horn. What was that? 117 to 111, I guess. And yeah, man, I mean, just kind of going off of what I heard you guys saying, just as I jumped on, he just did a really good job of fighting his fight. He was fighting the fight at his pace. I think what was really interesting to me is he was doing to Manny Pacquiao what Pacquiao normally does to everybody else.
Yeah.
He was like moving around, showing all these different angles, like all the way on the outside, and then all of a sudden he would lunge forward with one or two like different shots, and then even like if those shots didn't necessarily land cleanly, like sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't, he would keep pressing forward even after the shot missed or whatever. And then he would like continue like either working Manny's body and pushing him back, pushing Manny on his heels, or just working the body, working the head, or like if Pacquiao was able to kind of stand his ground in the clinch, he would just kind of push him back just based off of their physicality and exactly where their positioning was. and then, continue hitting at his arms and his elbows and his guard and everything. And the thing is, a lot of people, they tend not to score those as like scoring blows necessarily, but those still take a toll on you. I mean, if I punch you in the arm 100 times, you're going to feel it. That's going to take something out of you, regardless of whether, somebody thinks, oh, that was a clean punch or not. It's still taking something out of you.
This is just one second, just quickly on that point.
Yeah.
This is that kind of boxing snobbery where, like, people have praised Kovalev or Triple G or these people. They'll go, the great thing about them is they keep throwing, they'll punch you anywhere, and that's seen as a positive. But for someone like Horn, it's now a negative. So that's just the kind of how boxing works, right?
Oh yeah, because we know those guys, but we don't know Jeff Horn. I don't know these guys. Like Stephen A. Smith said on the fucking broadcast, making himself look like a dumbass. You know what I mean? I said, and I even put it on Twitter. I said that I'd like to beat down Stephen A. Smith and Teddy Ellis because they're fucking idiots, and I hold to that because they made themselves look like absolute fucking fools the other day. Making the sport of boxing look like an absolute joke with their histrionics. But yeah, Jeff Horn just did a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you could tell early on in the first couple of rounds that Pacquiao looked a little bit slow to pull the trigger. Like I was thinking like, yo, this is the fight where Pacquiao's kind of looking old. But once he got into his rhythm, I'd say like about a round and a half in, it looked like he was just going to turn it up on Horn. And I mean, I was tweeting back and forth with I think it was Jess the other day. Well, if I was going on, he was saying like, oh yeah, Horn's about to tire out. Pacquiao's going to turn it up on him and knock him out and everything. And I could see where he was coming from that. And that was actually even worrying me, like as I was watching the fight. But it didn't happen. Like even as Pacquiao was turning it up on him, Horn was able to turn it up right there with him. It's almost like, you're driving your sports car and then like somebody else pulls up and then they freaking fly right by you and you catch up to them. That's exactly what Horn did. He caught right back up to Pacquiao as Pacquiao was starting to turn it up on him in the mid rounds. And that ninth round was crazy. You know what I mean? Because like I was watching that ninth round and I was listening to the commentary. The commentary was pissing me off because it's like they're not giving Horn any credit. Like Teddy Ellis was praising Pacquiao's speed and the straighter punches, quote unquote, that he was throwing, even though he wasn't landing a whole hell of a lot of them in some of those rounds, while Horn was hitting him. So it's like he's praising Pacquiao while Pacquiao's getting hit with clean shots.
Naota, how was Bradley?
Bradley was a bit more even keeled. The thing with Bradley is he sounded like the whole night he was trying to be like a peacemaker, because you could tell with what Bradley was saying that he felt that Horn was winning the fight, but he didn't want to say that out loud. So, like, throughout the fight, he was saying, like, I don't know, man. I think this fight is closer than you guys think. And he was saying, like, oh, you gave that round to Pacquiao, Teddy? Like, he was, like, questioning him. Like, he says, like, you gave him that round to Pacquiao? Like, I don't know. I think Horn might have got, he was doing that. He wasn't really overtly saying, like, no, like, Horn is definitely winning this fight. Yeah. He was almost kind of right in the fence a little bit, but at the same time, you have Teddy in there, and you have the other guys over the mic and everything, Smith and whoever the co-host was. Like, they all have very domineering personalities. And so Bradley, like, he tends to just try to go with the flow, and he basically wasn't trying to step on any toes in there. Like, even in the aftermath, like, he really wasn't surprised. I mean, I was a little bit disappointed in him in that he kind of backed down from the position that Horn won, because you could tell in his head he was thinking that it was either a draw or that Horn actually won.
No, but Naoto, he was worried that if he disagrees with Teddy, then Teddy's going to send him to the fire station for a year. Yeah,
exactly. There you go.
Voluntary work.
Teddy's going to pull out his piece again, isn't he?
Go fucking crazy.
But look, it's strange. So we need it. Obviously, a lot of people scored this fight to Pacquiao and seemed enraged by it, and obviously, for once, we all agree on here, and I think everyone did, like Cam said, we all had Horn winning. Some thought it was a closer fight than others. So I'd like to know, it's a shame we haven't got someone on here who scored it for Pacquiao, but, I'd like to know what their arguments is. Oh, I didn't get into it too much over Twitter.
To me, the way
too busy trolling people about the
their
loss.
faces, Leon. Look at their faces. Look at their faces.
Oh, no, but they were... But I said this... Most of the damage was done by head clashes, and they both got cuts off head clashes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So
it's not like
to
Pacquiao
score
hasn't-
someone's face.
It's not like Pacquiao's fucking dome piece hasn't flown forward his entire career as he's throwing those Superman punches.
But look, all I'm saying is you can't legitimately say that punch did that damage. Well, I can definitely legitimately say where the head clashes did the damage because you saw the blood come out of both of them straight away. So putting up that professional fighters putting up that picture because no fighter has ever won a fight and had his face smashed in, have they?
Yeah, fucking foolish.
Algieri.
Like Chocolatito versus Quadras. Gonzalez looked like fucking unrecognizable. Quadras' face was pretty much clean except for a little bit of raised puffiness like just below his eyes. But that was still an even fight all throughout. You know, you can't say that it wasn't.
The Algieri one's the most recent one I remember. Like, he looked like he'd been in a fucking car crash, didn't he? But he won that fight.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing is that all that eye damage was done in the first 2 rounds. After that, I mean, there was really not much accumulation to be had.
So, you know, it's just I just think it was a close fight. I just think it's weird that ESPN had this really, really kind of big reaction. Because, like, look, Pacquiao's a fading star. So if you're starting ESPN, like boxing on ESPN, does it matter that a big star gets beaten by an underdog? Like, surely that's a good story to sell. But they went really on the negative and seemed to just on the attack and kind of slightly undermine Horn's effort and win. Like, they could have been. There's a storyline there as well. It doesn't have to be a negative, right? The Horn win.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be, but the way that they see it is like, oh no, Pacquiao has to win, and he always has to win, and this wasn't supposed to be the way it happened, and oh no, it was supposed to be Terrence Crawford that was supposed to beat Pacquiao, and so you got a lot of those fucking nut jobs out there that don't want to accept that, you know, Pat got upset by some fucking unknown that they had never saw coming. Like Teddy Ellis, you know, the whole thing with Teddy Ellis is he's been talking mad shit about Horn for so many months that he had it in his head that he wasn't going to win this fight, and so that completely reflected in his scoring because that's what he saw. You know, people are seeing punches that aren't landing. They're seeing just the fact that Pacquiao's throwing punches that automatically they're all landing fucking like completely flush, even though they weren't. And it's ridiculous, man. Like people are like take themselves into an alternate reality when it comes to Pacquiao, and all I saw is it happened again. Okay. It's happened his entire career, and it happened all over again. And probably even worse this time because like I said, they didn't know who Jeff Horn was, so they weren't going to give him any benefit of the doubt.
All right, let me jump in. We might come back to it because Kimo possibly may jump on the show later, so we can come back to it. But just 2 final points on the fight. One, your thoughts on the future. Most likely, do you think there'll be a rematch?
Well, I mean, they said that if they have a rematch, they have to pretty much have it in Australia if it happens, or they have to look there first. So it's pretty much a guarantee that it would be there. But even Freddie Roach, you know, all that bullshit that he was talking after the fight, saying that he thought that Pacquiao was going to knock him out and all that stuff. He was even saying that he might think that he's going to give a long talk to Pacquiao about possibly retiring. So it wouldn't surprise me. And the thing is, Pacquiao made $10 million for this fight. He's going to make less for a rematch. He might make like half of that much. You know, I mean, even though the ratings were really good, that's still a basis for your purse minimum to be dropped when you lose a fight. It always is. That's usually what tends to happen.
Horn only got $500,000 for that fight.
Yeah.
But he took it, though, didn't he? He took it. But the other thing, I don't know. Look, I love taking.
Well, real quick, Leon. And the thing is, like, there's people like criticizing him, like, you know, calling out Mayweather. Mayweather's fighting a fucking MMA fighter, so get the fuck out of here. I'd say that strawweight should be fucking calling out Mayweather in that case.
I don't know. I thought it was a bit corny, man. Personally.
Yeah, but look, I'd say on that he's in front of a massive crowd.
The delivery was a little corny, but I mean, I don't blame him for doing it. That's your due diligence. You know, I mean, you just made $500,000. Your wife's gonna have a baby. You're about to have a family. You got to get the money where it can be got. So
he had props ready though, man. It's like he had this shit there, like.
Yeah.
But look, on the Mayweather call out, he's in front of like half of his fans are probably casuals, aren't they? So you got to say the name that everyone recognises. Try and get a bit of reaction from the crowd and stuff. And look, I like taking the piss out of Australian boxing and all that kind of stuff online. But look, they put 55,000 people in a stadium there.
Yeah, I was impressed. Yeah,
you've got to give them, but
I think the official number was actually 51,000. From what I heard,
over 50,000. You're doing 50,000. You're good, but it's all been kind of destroyed. Any positivity that has been destroyed by the kind of complete overreactions by people. I personally think.
Well, at least outside of Australia, it seems to be that way. I mean, it's from what I'm hearing over there. It sounds like the fans are really behind him now. So.
But I say now to a lot of people over here and different parts of the world on Twitter, they seem to score it more to Horn than in the States. It was very weird. Yeah. But one last thing, I don't like boxing in the daylight.
And those crappy barbecue plastic chairs that they were about at the ring time.
But boxing in the daylight's not right.
I know what you mean, but I didn't mind it. It's a bit different, so I didn't mind it.
It's a bit different, but no, not having that.
All right, final point.
Yeah, it was a makeshift.
Nailta touched upon it. The viewing figures. ESPN said it was a decade record. I think the last time they hit these type of figures was in 2006 or something like that. So, what's your thoughts, Leon? They're saying about 3.1. That's viewers plus streaming. So people on ESPN's app or their website or whatever. I personally, I don't know. Maybe because we get crazy figures in the UK. I don't think it's that impressive.
No, how many fuckers are there over there? I mean, it's a tiny, isn't it? I don't know. I mean,
I think it's
a
small.
big station, though, isn't it? So there's probably a lot more people just watching it because it's on, right?
True, but Leon, like, if AJ fought on BBC or ITV, free TV, you'd get like 10 million.
It's not free though. It's not free though. It's a cable network.
Yeah, but it's quite basic, isn't it? Like, Neil, you don't have to like pay a lot towards it, do you?
No.
It comes with your package, part of your package.
That's always a part of like the cheapest package usually.
Yeah, so it's almost like free TV. And if AJ was on anything like that, he'd do like 10, 15 million.
Yeah, 10 million.
Because like that's like the one channel like where even when people are saying like, oh, I want to cut the cord, I don't want cable anymore. Like they're like, oh, but I gotta have my ESPN because that's where the live sports comes on for a lot of different events. But and Sports Center and all that, of course.
I think for American boxing, we said it's kind of on the decline. 3.1 might sound a lot, but I think it's kind of low, man. But that's my personal view.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta start somewhere. Pacquiao definitely is a bit of a faded star. If it was Mayweather, I think it might do a bit of a better number.
And I think maybe if the opponent was better. Maybe if it was Crawford or something.
Too. There was a lot of people that were taking it for granted, thinking, "Oh, Pacquiao's just gonna knock this fucker out."
Yeah, true.
I'll catch it on replay, I'll record it or whatever.
Yeah, like normally I'm up for these. I did set my alarm, but I woke up and I was like, I'm too tired, man, to fuck this. And then
I was gonna even say like, what do you? I was looking for you guys when the fight was actually live. I was like, damn, nobody's watching. That's a shame. But,
I intended to, but I just thought, I was just too tired.
Yeah, a lot of people they thought this was David Diaz 2.0, because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, as far as anyone was concerned, that it was such a massive leap up in class for Horn that it might as well have been. But, he showed that just because people think that you're a cherry pick doesn't necessarily mean that you think so, too. He went in there, he didn't believe the hype, and he became the hype.
Yep. You guys got anything else regarding this fight?
But just quick, Arum didn't complain, did he? Pacquiao didn't really complain. Did Roach complain? I mean, it just seemed like people were there.
Roach pissed and moaned like nobody's business afterwards.
Oh, he did. But Arum seemed to think it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
I'll say it again. I think you could have scored it to Pacquiao.
For what it's worth, Arum, I mean, the thing is he has stakes on either side, so, I mean, I doubt he would say very much anyway. But
he liked that 55,000 in there, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. And then, he has supposedly, I think he has a piece of Parker, too, after the Andrew Ruiz fight. So, he's going to continue doing some things down there, with Duco and all that. So I'm sure he's looking for that paper and everything, and he could make Horn Crawford possibly eventually. But Horn, it's kind of bothering me though. Like a lot of people trying to take away from Horn's win, saying, "Oh, anybody would have beat Pacquiao yesterday," and Collazo can beat Horn and Garcia can beat Horn. Horn will beat the dog shit out of Garcia. He will fuck Danny Garcia up. I'm telling you right now. He might stop his ass too. And the only person I would favor over him is Errol Spence. Everybody else, Horn can just physically manhandle damn near anybody out there. I think that Thurman's power would be worrying. I think that him versus Thurman's power would be worrying. Him versus Sean Porter would be a fantastic fight. Very similar styles, and it would just be a thuggish fucking backyard brawl between those two. I'd love to see that.
That definitely gets stopped on cuts, doesn't it?
To a lot of people in the chat.
Most likely.
a lot of people in the chat now to think that you've lost your mind.
Yeah, well, they can go ahead and think so. But
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you what.
Horn did what nobody else was doing. You know what I mean? Mayweather didn't fight him like that. Marquez didn't even necessarily fight him like that. He just had to take him out with one shot. Horn went in there, bullied him all 12 rounds, and he got the win.
What are you going to say, Leon?
Cam, we can be certain of one thing, though, Cam. He'll make Brook quit.
He'll take that knee.
He'll take that knee.
All right, let's move on. I know you haven't caught the undercard, Leon, so we'll give you a bit of time to finish watching that Shafikov fight. So, Neil...
I've moved on. The screen was playing around, so I've watched some of those bum fights from Sky.
Okay. Neil, do you want to just quickly go for this undercard with me?
Sure.
Joe went on cast. I think it's the second time I've seen him. I'm not that impressed, Neilton, man. His opponent was like... First of all, it was the slowest entrance to the ring I've ever seen. He was just like taking a half step every minute. It was so long. And when he got in the ring, his punches were slow. Like there was no snap in his punches, and he wasn't that impressive. He got a cut. His eye blew up pretty badly, and I thought the stoppage was quite decent, man. Because I think was it a body shot that dropped him, but like the ref saw his eye and his face, and he thought, nah, this is.
Yeah, it was the accumulation, I think, that the ref saw, and the fact that Ankaz basically won every round up until then.
Yeah, well, what do you think of Ankaz though? I think he's bang on average, man. I didn't see anything special.
Well, I used to consider him the weakest champion, and now actually I think that he would beat Yafai. But he was fairly impressed with him. You know what I mean? When he beat McJoe Arroyo, I really didn't even necessarily expect him to do as well as he did in that fight. His fight between that one and this one was a little bit more middling. I mean, Kinoshita wasn't really a great fighter necessarily in his own right. His only other loss though was to Zlani Tete, who took him 12 and beat him by decision. But Ankaz got him out of there. So I think at the very least that says that his power is at the elite level. And I mean, he pretty much shut him out all the way up until then. So I mean, Kinoshita really couldn't do very much with him. I wouldn't necessarily say he's average. I think it's that he hasn't really been forced to show his entire skill set. I think he still has more in the tank than what he's necessarily shown. Because even Arroyo had a very difficult time kind of catching up to him, because it's like he's almost fights like a bit of like a more mid-pace version of like a Pacquiao. It's like he's kind of all the way on the outside, and then he'll kind of shoot those jabs and then lunge forward with that big left hand and everything. That body shot, yeah, that was nasty. You don't usually see right hands to the body put a guy down like that. Usually it's a left hand to the body because it's like you catch him right there in the liver and it knocks the wind out of an opponent. But you don't really have as many organs over on the left side, on the left side of your body, which would be corresponding to the right hook landing there. And that was just a brutal body shot. He closed up his eye and had it bloodied and everything, whether it was from a head clash or from the punches as well. Kinoshita was the one really leading with his head, so if anything, it was most likely his fault that happened. But yeah, I think Ankaz really, he did a good job and showed out in front of a very big audience, and hopefully he can get in the mix of the super flyweight stars now. That's they're gonna have that big triple header coming soon in a couple of months. So I'd definitely like to see him mix it up against any of those guys or Yafai. And also looking at the IBF rankings, his top contender now is going to be John Rio Casimero. So I think him versus Casimero would be a very good fight. If they could have it right there, of course, in the Philippines, both Filipinos and everything. I think that's a great fight to be had, and really deserves a lot of attention. I criticized Ankaz before for turning down the offer on New Year's Eve to fight Naoya Inoue, but I could see kind of where they were coming from now, because now they've exposed him in front of such bigger audiences like what we just had this past weekend. And Inoue is about to make his U.S. debut. The money's going to be probably twice as much as it would have been this past New Year. So, Ankaz definitely has room to grow financially and possibly professionally as well. I mean, I would definitely favor Gonzalez, Estrada, and Inoue over him. But I still think that his overall level of ability keeps him very alive against a lot of the guys there, especially considering the fact that he's taller than pretty much all of them too. He's tall, he's got a long reach, he knows how to use that reach. So I think he's going to be a lot more difficult than people would necessarily expect. And he's fresh too. He hasn't been in really wars like that, so I think that counts as well.
Dan has jumped on the line. I assume you want to talk about Pacquiao-Horn. Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I didn't watch the fight, so I can't comment on it.
All right, thank you. I'll hang up on you then. How can you not watch the fight? You're a wild card till you die.
Team L. Team L.
I just thought it was a foregone conclusion, but I do think it's interesting that you guys all. I mean, obviously, my opinion doesn't matter because I didn't watch the fight. But
did you really not watch the fight?
I did it. I just saw the 9th round and that was it.
Why have you? May I ask why you not watched the fight?
I was busy, man. It was a Saturday night. I went to go see Baby Driver, and I was out. What can I say?
Okay, did you not have time on Sunday, 45 minutes, to catch one of your favorite boxers?
I did, but I just don't care about my favorite boxer anymore because he's fighting guys like Jeff Horn. But what I'm trying to say is that the feedback I got from both casual fans, even like hardcore fans of mine, that I know, it was the same response to Bradley Pacquiao won. So I'm just surprised. Like, I don't doubt you guys all, legitimately scoring it for Pacquiao or for Horn, but like you're the only 3 people that I know that scored for Horn, which I find kind of surprising. So that's all.
Put chemo in
whether
there
it
as well, so it's 4.
or whatever else, it's kind of weird that the 3 people that all on this show that are probably close to it all scored it for Horn. Unanimous.
But you have no other friends, so there's no one else to ask.
Chemo scored it to Horn.
Yeah, but he's not really my friend.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, he's not to be trusted.
But like you said, it's a massive L for Pacquiao, no matter how you dice it. And I actually give credit to Freddie because I think you saw Freddie's honest side. When they asked Freddie what he thought about the fight, he was like, it was a close fight, and Manny didn't look as good as he should have, and Freddie didn't really complain too much about the decision. So I think that speaks in and of itself. Why is Manny even in this predicament in the first place, right? Why is he fighting a guy like Ford, and why is he in these kind of close fights against a guy who's a relative unknown? He may be ranked number 2 by the WBO or whatever it may be, but I mean, he'd probably get beat by anybody top 10 at 147, right?
Not according to Naota.
But the problem with the reaction from the States is that the idea that there was this horrendous robbery would suggest that there was some kind of schooling going on. And I've seen Pacquiao give people schoolings before, numerous times, and there's no way on God's green earth, although I'm not religious, that was a schooling on any level. No one got schooled in there either side.
And honestly, Dan, like you said that you only saw that 9th round. The 9th round was literally the only round where you could clearly say that like Pacquiao did like serious damage to him. That was the only round.
I saw the 8th as well. The 8th as well. He thought I hurt him a bit.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why I only watched that round.
Yeah, pretty much the entire rest of the fight was Horn pretty much bullying Pacquiao. It was like, like almost fighting him the way that like a Sean Porter fought Andre Berto and everything. Just pushing him back, bullying him, moving him around the ring, hitting whatever was there, whether it was the body or the arms or whatever, and just controlling the ring. I mean, people talk all this shit about, you need to use the different criteria of boxing. Well, ring generalship was pretty much all Jeff Horn every single round, except for the 9th.
I tried to do
some of the other rounds they lost.
No.
Go ahead.
I tried to do my best, but my best was not good enough.
Not this time, Manny. Not this time.
No, but I hope I want Manny to get that rematch that I won't watch again, and I hope he wins that rematch. Jesus. And the thing is, I don't know what Manny's financial situation is like too. I mean, I know he only made $10 million in this fight, and the way that he spent his money, and some of the tax evasions that he got indicted with in the past, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually needs money, considering just how much he spent. So.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, hey, the president over there doesn't fuck around. President Duterte is talking about fucking executing drug dealers like by his own hands and shit. So.
Yo,
and situations.
And Manny's entourage always look like they're bleeding money from him. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, but it's sad, man, because Manny's a fucking legend, dude, and Manny and Floyd, and those are 2 guys that carried the sport for the past decade or so. And to see him kind of relegated to this level, what 3 million viewers on ESPN. Like, I'm pretty sure like reruns of women's gymnastics do the same amount of views.
Probably do more.
That boxing between a legend and a relative unknown, even at that, can only generate that many viewers. Pretty disheartening.
I agree.
Hey man, yeah man, Boo Boy's food bill alone is probably milking Manny's bank account.
Do you think Manny's entourage is the worst dressed entourage in the history of boxing? Because they have some of the world's worst tasting sunglasses.
Yeah,
they are strange looking. They're a strange looking bunch.
Ricky Hatton's entourage in the past is pretty awful too. So I think they're like 1A and 1B, but yeah, probably Manny's entourage takes it just because they're short, dark, and Filipino people.
Did you notice in the early rounds? I can't remember between which rounds it was, but one of his entourage, I don't know if he's a trainer or he's a relative or something. He was like trying to give Manny advice, and Freddie was like, "Yo, be quiet, man. Let me talk to him."
Was he the one slapping his head because he was going to the ref about the headbutts? That guy?
It might have been, yeah. He was like saying, "Come on, Manny, in and out," and like Freddie was like, "Yo, chill, let me speak, man." It's quite funny. But
well, that's probably who's been training Manny, isn't he? Because he's hardly been with Roach, has he?
I think Roach was over in the Philippines training with him, as far as I know.
Roach seemed a little disappointed in him, I think.
I imagine when he's not around though, that he probably takes over the responsibilities. Because Roach spreads himself so thin a lot of the times. He has so many fighters to train. He'll do that.
Sorry, Dan, I didn't hear
that. Is it Justin Fortune? Is it Justin Fortune, the Australian guy?
No, it was a big fat Filipino dude.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
But Dan, have you got anything else?
No, man. Just looking forward to the Taylor fight this Saturday, man. I haven't been more excited for a fight since Pacquiao-Horn. So I'm really, really pumped for this one.
Have you seen any? Have you ever seen any of Taylor or Davis yet?
No, all I know is that Davies is a stablemate of Anthony Joshua, so that's enough to get my blood flowing.
I love the fact that you're coming all the way from LA to Glasgow, and then you're not even seeing any of the boxes that you're coming to watch. That's amazing.
I'm all the way, man. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I get to London is find me one of those stores. I heard if you spend $100, you get a $10 coupon back, so I'm going to spend probably like $1,000 just so I can get another $100 and go through that cycle all over again.
Get that JD clothing.
Exactly. Hopefully they have some Bellews specials. I want to get a Bellews shirt as well if I can.
I won't allow that. You're not buying the Everton shirt. Sorry.
All right. Well, no, that's it for me, guys. That's probably it because I don't really have much to add. Anyways, but flying out tomorrow. So. And yeah, shout out to anyone listening to the show. If you guys can make it to the Nando's in Glasgow this Friday at 8 p.m., we're gonna have a special coalition appreciation night hosted by yours. I'm serious. It's good. Dress sharp, black and white, attire only, button-ups, dress shoes, the whole bunch. So. Bring, donations are appreciated as well, a $50 minimum, so £50 minimum, rather. So, just be ready. It's going to be a good time. Stay humble, guys.
Yep, all right. Dan, have a safe journey tomorrow, man. Take it easy.
All right, peace, boys.
All right, now, so let's just go back to this undercard. What else we got left? Michael Conlon versus a little tiny dude. Jarrett Owen, who just basically came Jarrett to survive, and he was backpedaling all fight. And I don't know, Conlon kind of struggled a bit early to kind of pin him down, but once he did, the body shots really just kind of took him apart, and then a few headshots, and then even Conlon was kind of urging the ref to stop it, which is quite funny to see. But it's mismatched, but it's still early in his career, and it's a bit shit that this is on a pay-per-view all the way in Australia, but there you go.
Yeah. I mean, fights like that don't really need to be televised, and if you want to televise them, at least get a higher level of opponent, or at least an opponent that's legitimately his size. Even if they're not anywhere near the skill level. With this, it was like he pretty much had every advantage over him. He's physically stronger, way faster on his feet, faster with his hands, better skilled, better schooled. He had nothing. Owen had nothing to give him, nothing to present to Conor. So I mean, it was an easy win for him. I don't know. I'm not particularly impressed with Conor. I think he's pretty much a bigger version of his brother.
I think he's better than his brother, but I think we'll only see the best of him once he starts fighting, people with a pulse. Like these type of fights,
yeah, definitely
do nothing for him.
He's fighting guys way below the level of the guys he was even fighting in the amateurs or the AIBA or whatever, however you want to call it, World Series of Boxing and stuff. So yeah, it's easy win and kind of a bit of a waste, waste of even his time. I mean, step him up. I think he's asking for it, so. I think he's at least somewhat ready for it. So get it and give it to him.
Yeah, and the last fight that was televised, I don't know if Top Rank did their streams that they usually do.
No, it was on ESPN. It was on ESPN. Shane Mosley and Toussaint.
Yeah, it's Shane Mosley, man. He's terrible. His junior, anyway, his son. He's terrible.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't have his dad's overall speed and power and everything. He has a little bit of snap, a little bit of pop and everything, but you could tell that just the final fundamentals really aren't there at all. Toussaint was kind of bullying him and just outboxing him as well.
He just can't.
Shane
just can't
Shane
block
Jr. was
any
making
punch.
a lot of. Go ahead.
He can't block a punch, man. Like every shot lands on him, man.
Yeah, not even just that he can't block a punch, but he can't really. He's too static. Like it's like when he throws punches, he stays right there. He's not given really very much head movement or stepping to the side after throwing his jab. Like usually, if you're pumping your jab out there, I would want you to either step to the left side or toss one jab, step to the right, and step back at almost like at like a 90-degree angle, and then throw the right hand. But he really didn't do anything like that, and so that just pretty much left him as a sitting duck for Toussaint's just better physical strength. I thought even when Toussaint wasn't necessarily landing particularly clean, he would hit him and he would move him. He would just move kind of Junior around the ring, and I thought that a lot of people were being actually a little bit generous to Junior, scoring it even like 5-3. Like I thought it was clearly pretty much 6-2, and that's even being somewhat generous to Shane Jr. Because otherwise, I mean, Toussaint I guess slowed down in the last couple of rounds, but other than that, he pretty much controlled the whole fight just about.
Box Nation commentary made a good point where I thought, they said. They think he's got too many yes men around him, and like people in his corner are like, yeah, you won that round, and it's like, well, you clearly lost that round. Yeah. Why are you telling him you won that round? You need to tell him to go there and get a knockout or some shit. So when you're like the son of a legend or a great boxer, I just think it's difficult, man. I'm gonna come on to Conor Benn in a while, and kids of legends going into the game, and you just leave yourself open to criticism and. I think boxing's not made for him, man. If he carries on boxing, he's going to be like his dad, man. He's going to be fucking mumbling with his words, and I don't want that to happen, man. He's a young dude, man. Just go off and do something else, man. You're still young. You can learn something else or go into a different industry, man. But that's all I saw on that card, Naoto, unless you got anything else to add.
No, that was it. That was all they broadcast.
Okay, and I actually need to make an apology. Not apology, but I've done a 180, man. For years, I was always preferring Jessica Rosales to Christina Puncher, but over the years, the classiness of Christina has really, attracted me. So I've gone over to the side of Team Puncher just to let people know.
She's raised her game.
Yep, and that's about it. Let's move on to Friday, Naoto. PBC on Bounce, probably one of the worst channels in the world. Only because they have so. Man,
make sure you download the Brown Sugar app, everybody. Download that app and
Sam,
get your free trial.
I had to download that Brown Sugar app on my phone just to watch that bum ass fight. I think it was probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever done, technologically speaking, in my life.
Did you uninstall it directly after the fight?
I did just because I was right after the fight. I was perusing, through some of the free content that I could, get at my own expense, and it was just all like these freaking nonsensical African American films from the 60s or 70s, like I don't know, some jungle
exploitation films
or some random bullshit. I was like, what the fuck am I getting myself into? And thank God that I don't have a wife who shares my account with me, because if she saw my Google Play Store activity and saw Brown Sugar, she'd be like, what the fuck?
So you said you saw the fight then, Dan, so while you're on the line, give us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, the fight wasn't much better than I'm sure some of the African sexploitation films available to me. I probably would have rather watched 40 minutes of that than the fight itself. I mean, I don't know. Easter's like you look at the guy. He's got all the physical talent, but he just doesn't really know how to put it together. You know, you can tell that the first couple of rounds when he was boxing and he was just jabbing Shafikov in a really, really boring fight. You can tell like his instinct was just to resort to an inside game, which obviously played right in Shafikov's hands, and which was the reason why the fight was closer than it should have been. You know, if Easter stayed to that game plan throughout the whole fight, he probably could have coasted to an easy decision, but he's just not a natural outside fighter. So, like, his talents are completely kind of mitigated by the fact that he just likes to bang with these guys. And I don't know if it's just because of Shafikov's awkwardness that Easter wasn't able to land, much clean shots after the fourth round, but it seems like he's there to get got. And I thought he would be the toughest challenge to Mikey at 135, but I don't think that's the case anymore. So it was just kind of like a random fight. If he scored at 7-5 for either guy, I wouldn't really have much of an issue with it. I just thought Easter landed some cleaner punches, so I gave the fight to him. But it was kind of insane that two of the judges scored the fight 12 to 0. That 120 to 108 scorecards, and that was insane to me. But anyways, it was really poor kind of card to highlight an even poorer experience and having to download not just Bounce, because the thing is I initially downloaded the Bounce app, and then right afterward that prompted me to download the Brown Sugar app, so I had to download two apps. And that just kind of highlights the viewing experience that I've had, and it really isn't much of a surprise that PBC isn't doing so well when they're fucking giving their fights like Bounce. Like, what the fuck is Bounce? Like Brown Sugar? Like, PBC on Brown Sugar?
It's not a good look. But Neilton, what was your view on this fight? Did you have Shafikov winning? I think you were screaming robbery.
I had 7-5 for Shafikov. I thought that Easter tired really badly in the latter half of the fight. And, kind of just going off of what Lim said, though, the thing is, Shafikov, he kind of forces you to fight his fight. He had a very close fight with Rances Barthélemy. He had a pretty close fight with Miguel Vasquez, and those are two of probably the better lightweights of the past decade or so, along with two guys that nobody really wants to fight, generally speaking. And he beat the shit out of Jamel Herring, and he actually beat Richard Commey, I think, even more clearly than Robert Easter did. So just based off of all that, you could say that he was basically even level with Robert Easter going into the fight. Or even better, because frankly speaking, those names are way better than anybody that Easter has on his record outside of Commey, who they share with each other as a common opponent. But Shafikov has quick feet, he has quick hands, and even though Easter was doing really well early, you have to be able to keep up that pace for the full 12 rounds against somebody like Shafikov, and he just wasn't able to do it. After a few rounds, it became a little bit more tiring, so a lot of the movement stopped, and just like the ring generalship stopped, and all of a sudden he was basically in the pocket having to bang it out with Shafikov, and he did fairly well doing that as well. I thought the right uppercut was a great punch for Easter, but he just faded so bad in probably about from round 8 through 11, and then he kind of recovered a little bit in the last round to try and eke it out, I guess, as far as the judges were concerned, even though two of them had it 120 to 108, which is fucking ridiculous. Because Easter, his last fight against Luis Cruz, they had the fight more competitive in that fight, and he knocked Cruz down 3 times in that fight. Then here against Shafikov really got fucked. It's ridiculous to go to those scorecards. And I'm not saying that it was a robbery necessarily, because I could definitely see Easter winning. I just happened to shade it to Shafikov, but Easter made some of those rounds close enough that you could give him the benefit of the doubt. But Shafikov, he deserves better than for people to be giving him no points at all in the fight. That's absolute trash. Those judges should be thrown in the fucking Buffalo Bill pit from Silence of the Lambs, along with the Murata versus Endom judges, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there was 120. How can you not give Shafikov one round? There was one of the rounds, I can't remember, I think I wrote it down. 5th, I think. It was a clear Shafikov round. terrible. But yeah, I had it 7-5. Easter nailed on. I agree with Lim. It's like one of those fights either way. It was a kind of closish fight. But I don't think Easter faded as much as you thought. He did definitely slow down a bit, and he was just kind of standing there fighting on the inside where he shouldn't really be. He's got those long limbs, should keep it out of range. But I've always liked Shafikov, man. Like, his head movement's always good. He's always kind of like darting in and out, twitching. His head's never in one position. And Easter, like, it's kind of straight punches 1-2, and then he had success on the inside. Like, you'd think Easter won't be that good on the inside, but with the cross guard, and like you said, that right uppercut, it was working well. And the only reason I didn't really favour Shafikov in a lot of the rounds was he was kind of catching a lot of arms and elbows, and Easter had his chin tucked behind his shoulder, and the cross guard was blocking a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm just favouring Easter a bit more.
Easter has really long arms, so I think that helps him a lot. So he's pretty much able to cover his whole body when he covers up like that with the cross guard or the high guard. And Shafikov is definitely making some mistakes in there too. I think that he could have done a bit better to keep his foot on the outside of Easter's and to kind of step to the side and then shoot the left hand, because whenever he did that on occasion, but it's like he wasn't really intent on doing it. He didn't really have a game plan of doing that. He just kind of did it on the fly a couple of times. He was able to kind of catch Easter blind with the left hand frequently when he did that, but he didn't do it enough. And he lacks a little bit of head movement. I think he could use a little bit more on the inside. It's like he's doing that peekaboo stuff on the outside, but not quite as much when he's in the pocket. Yeah. Which I think is one of the main flaws that kind of got him hit a bit more than he probably could have been. By Easter. But the way I'm talking about with Easter fading, though, isn't necessarily saying that, like, I thought that he was absolutely, like, screwed, like the way that, like, Pacquiao was in the late rounds of the Horn fight or anything. It's just that the first 3 rounds of that fight were completely different than the rest of the fight, where Easter was sticking and moving and able to, kind of body him off on the inside, but continuing to keep his distance and just staying really active, with that high volume. I think the volume dropped a little bit as the rounds pressed on. And the movement definitely dropped. So, it was almost like he was fighting in a different style in a way. And so, had he been able to keep up the earlier style, I think, like Lima said, that he could have somewhat cruised to a decision, quote unquote. But, I mean, with Shafikov in there, there's pretty much no cruising for anybody. Anybody's going to have a difficult time with him. So, I mean, for that at least, you could definitely give props to Easter, because, that's one of the toughest opponents that you can have at lightweight without a belt. I mean, this side, at the very least, this side of, like, Ray Beltran. So, that's the way that I see it. And, Easter, I think, is live against basically everybody else outside of Garcia. Garcia is probably the only guy I really favor of him. But I think the power would eventually get to Linares. And, I'm not particularly thinking highly of Flanagan or Verdejo. So, so I think Easter is basically like the second best guy there. And, Garcia might be moving up permanently. I'd imagine if he beats Broner or beats him impressively, he probably won't even go back down, because there'd be too much money keeping him up. So Easter might be the best lightweight pretty soon.
Yeah, and just the reason why I was dissing Bounce earlier and saying it's the worst chance, because if you go to the website and you use a VPN, you can actually watch some of the stuff they have on demand, and there's previous PBC fights on there, but they're not uploaded this one, so I had to find one on YouTube. It was a decent quality version, but it didn't have any commentary, which was actually quite refreshing.
Yeah, they take forever. PBC takes forever to freaking upload their stuff.
Yeah, but the internet, man. It was decent that I didn't have any commentary and I can just like watch it and enjoy the fight. But the bad side is like no one would bother to put up the Julian Williams fight onto YouTube or Dailymotion or anything, so I didn't manage to catch that. Did you see that fight, Naoto?
Yeah. Let me think. I'm trying to think. Who was he? What was the opponent's name again?
Joshua Conley.
Yeah, Conley. Yeah. I mean, Julian. It was a pretty pedestrian win for Williams. I mean, it looked like he could have gotten him out of there whenever he wanted, but it was almost like a bit of a sparring session. Conley looked real jittery the first couple of rounds, like almost like nervous to like be on TV and in front of the cameras and everything. But Williams just pretty much jabbed at him, was able to hurt him a couple of different times, eventually dropped him in the 7th, knocked him out. He probably could have done that in 3 rounds, really. So it's like he was almost like looking to get rounds in. But he wound up actually getting the cut, if I remember correctly, over his right eye. And so that, like, had he gotten Conley out there earlier, that probably wouldn't have happened to him. And the cut was caused by legal punches, too. So I think he played with his food a little too long, and he got burnt by the food, because he did that. So unfortunately for him, it might not be. He might have to take a little bit of a break to let that heal and everything. And as far as the PBC goes, with such a large roster, I think it's like if you're not immediately ready to fight to go right back in there, and you're not a champion, that could kind of screw with your scheduling. So it might be a little while before we see Julian Williams back in the ring, which is unfortunate because I still think that he's very much a top contender. I mean, he was definitely hanging there at the very least technically with Charlo. It's just Charlo could hit too damn hard, too big, too strong, too powerful. But technically, Williams is definitely still a very high-level contender.
Yep. And lastly, KH messaged me, said that his boy Ivan Galoob got robbed or something. Was that fight televised? Did you see that one?
I'm trying to remember.
Ukrainian kid at Super Welter.
You know what? Yeah. Yes, I did. I did see him and Clark. Yeah, he did get robbed. He did. That fight I scored. I'm trying to think. I think I had it either 5-3 or 6-2 for Galoob. Clark kind of came on at the end, but I think he just ran out of time. Because Galoob was pretty much dominating like the first 4 rounds. So, I mean, at that point, you just need to give one more round to Galoob and he wins the fight. And, Clark kind of came on a little bit late. Galoob appeared to get a little bit tired later on. But, yeah, no, Galoob should have won that fight. The judges fucked up there, too. One of the judges had it freaking 7-1 for Clark, which is ridiculous. There's no way in hell that he won that fight 7-1. But, I guess that's what happens when you're an Ohio fighter and you're from Cincinnati and fighting in Toledo. So it was a sign of things to come when it came to the main event.
Thank you, Neota. Okay, I need to move on, but I see Chemo sneaking into the mix of the chat, so he may likely jump on the line. So I don't know whether to wait for him until we move on, because we've got to just talk about Povetkin and also this horrible summertime brawl card that Matchroom had in London. But while we're waiting for Kimo, let's just talk quickly about Povetkin. Either of you guys see the Povetkin fight?
I recorded it, but then didn't something really weird as shit happen, so I couldn't bother to watch the whole card.
That's weird.
I didn't watch it. I don't really have very much use for Povetkin. I'll watch it eventually, but I didn't really find the time to do it this weekend.
Right, so he fought Andrei Rudenko previously. I think lost to Big Daddy Brown and Huey Fury, but he's one tough bastard. I actually remember that fight against he had Lucas Brown, and like he took everything Brown had, man. He's got a hell of a chin, man. He took everything that Povetkin had, like every punch, the uppercuts, the hooks, everything was landing clean, and he took it all, man. It was really impressive, and he was firing back as well. He'd take a shot and then he'd throw a shot right back. The only weird thing which Leon is talking about is in the first round there was an incident where some, like, I wouldn't say full punches, but like some cuffing punches with the inside of the glove kind of and the inside of the arm kind of hit Rudenko, and there was a almost headlock type moment, and after that, I don't know if a nerve went in his neck or something, but he was complaining. The ref stopped the fight. The doc came in. He was kind of massaging his neck, and it was stopped for about 5 minutes. And then I don't know if they said, well, if you quit, then yeah, it's a win for Povetkin and a loss for you. And yeah, he continued to fight. You saw throughout the fight he was still having issues with it, but I was impressed that he just went all the way as well. Like, he took everything Povetkin through. He wasn't really hurt at any point. There was one time where he was a bit staggered, and he was fighting through a possible injury, because I thought it was genuine, man. He doesn't look like a guy that would just quit after one round, and it was pretty amazing, man. Like, he came out the fight looking better than Povetkin in a way, because he just shown so much heart. Like, Povetkin performance was good, and his punch combination was good and that. But I'm kind of tired with Povetkin. I've defended him previously. I said to him, people are innocent until proven guilty, and he's got clocked twice now. And what he did after that, the last time when he fought Dupuis on short notice and just iced him and all that, where really he shouldn't even really fought. That type of shit like really put me up Povetkin. Even though I think he's fun to fight, fun to watch. I've got no more time for him.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way I felt about the fight as a whole. You know what I mean? Forget Povetkin.
Our boy was back though. Not our boy, but some of our boy. Troy Noski, he was on the undercard. And
how did he do?
He fought a former forward Ricky Burns. DeRocco Burns fought him a couple. I think he fought him last year for the WBA Super. I don't know how he got into a position for the WBC Super, but he was actually better in this fight at times than I saw him in the Burns fight. Because against Burns, I thought he was terrible, and I thought, how did he get a chance to fight Burns for a title? But in the first round, he was doing all right, man. He was landing in Troyanovsky. I don't know if Troyanovsky is still a bit nervous because it's the first time he's fought since he got iced by Indongo, but. Yeah, Duraco kind of jumped on him and he's making him feel a bit uncomfortable. Like Troyanovsky landed a few shots, but then he landed one nice right hand at the end of the first and dropped Duraco. He got up. He seemed okay. He wasn't too hurt, and then the bell went second round. They both were going back and forth with like right hands. Troyanovsky was landing, Duraco was landing, and that was a decent round as well. And in the third. Troyanovsky caught him with a short right hand. He was kind of like a bit. Duraco was caught a bit square, and he just got caught with the right hand, dropped. And then in the fourth, there was two nice jabs that hurt Duraco, and then at the start of the round, and then a double jab right dropped him. And I thought the fight should have been stopped there. Bunsey and Steve Lillis were saying that that was enough, but he got up. The ref let it continue, and then. He got dropped with a vicious 1-2, man, and he looked in a bad place, man. Like that was two shots I didn't think he really needed to take, but I think this ref was more on the Steve Smoger way of refereeing fights. So there you go. But yeah, it was. If you guys catch it on YouTube or something, it's a decent 4 rounds to watch, man. It's not going to take too much of your time, and it was decent to watch. So.
Yeah,
I'll watch that. What was that ref called?
I'm not sure of his name. Let me find it.
Mike Ortega.
Victor Panin.
Yeah, I always like I like a ref that's a brave ref.
No, that was the ref for the. That was the ref for the.
Oh, you know it's
sorry.
Irakli Malazonia.
That's the one. That sounds like an illegal drug that Povetkin would have took.
Yeah, seriously.
Irakli Malazonia.
Oh shit, he took that Malazonia.
Ah shit! There we go. Chemo's not jumped
on before the fight.
Yeah, he took it before the fight. Chemo's not jumped on, so shall we get into the summertime brawl? I guess I've only seen it, and you've been kind of watching it in the background, Leo.
Yeah.
So, what have you seen so far?
I've watched Buatsi because we all liked him in the Olympics. But again, that's pro debut. It's difficult to judge. But he looked very compact and tidy and smooth punching. He looks very good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's rushing his work a bit, though. But you kind of get that on the debut, innit? Like he's so eager to get the knockout.
Yeah.
He looks like one of the good, out of this kind of these insane amount of kind of like Cabbage Patch Kids that fucking Hearn's picked up. He's got loads of these youngsters, hasn't he? But. He looks like one of the good guys, I think.
Yeah, no, I was impressed in that. I was speaking to Chemo, and so often we disregard the opponents, but this dude, he came to fight Joshua Buatsi's opponent, and he got dropped, but he got up and he was trying. He wasn't good enough, and Buatsi was just levels above. But we could have really got someone worse for his debut, so props to him, man. Props to the matchmaker as well. We shit on him a lot, but it was a good guy for your first debut.
That was a mean kind of body shot, that kind of like high up on the ribs that dropped him first, wasn't it?
Yep.
That looked like a real painful one. But yeah, I like the fact that he's going to the body a lot, so we don't get enough of that out of British fighters, so that was good to see. Then I just let it play. I just let the thing play, and whatever came up. And then next thing I got to see was Conor Benn.
What was your thoughts on the Destroyer?
Dear God, he was pulling some shapes, though, wasn't he? Like on his own, off in the corner, like avoiding punches that weren't being thrown. Did you notice that?
That's
I thought those weird moves he was doing. Yeah, it's just, and he wild, wasn't he? He's very open.
I can't wait till he fights someone half decent that can counterpunch, because he's getting iced.
Oh yeah, anyone who throws very straight punches is going to land on him every time, because those hooks come from miles away, don't they?
Yeah. I'm going to go in. Sorry, go.
He's just not very good at the moment. He might get better, but at the moment he's just poor.
Yeah. Chemo's jumped on the line. What's happening, blood?
Hey, boys. What's going on?
Yes, Keith.
You finally decided to come on.
Yeah, man.
He's been in Europe as well, it's disgusting.
Yeah. I'm back in the homeland, man, so there's a lot of family commitments, and I kind of had to wait out until everybody goes to sleep.
Did you get that merce though?
Did I get the what?
The merce, the man purse.
The man purse.
Oh, the man purse. I must say, I'm very, very much inspired by the fashion trends that the Smiths and David Pricey are putting forward. So I was very much tempted. Then I looked at the price tag. I was like, "Fuck that." I should have bought a cheap knockoff back in the Middle East. Actually,
I was going to say, actually, do you think that Paul Smith is a knockoff then?
Well, these guys make pretty decent money. I'm pretty sure they're stupid enough to actually buy a proper branded one. I'm sure Pricey definitely
genuine Armani.
Pricey's a classy guy. You can see it in his suits. So I'm pretty sure he's got a legit one.
All right, Kimo, we'll probably get to...
I hear that you gents are talking about that wonderful card.
Summertime, bro. Yeah, we'll get to Pacquiao-Horn in a minute and get your view on it. But yeah, we just talked about Joshua Buatsi's debut. I know you were impressed with his opponent and impressed with him, and then we'll probably get into the rest of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I can kind of echo your thoughts a little bit. I mean, usually we have some sort of math teacher in there for pro debut, and this was actually, a guy that was in pretty decent shape, had a decent, set of skills, kind of knew how to block punches and defend and slip and roll a little bit. So, and he was throwing back, even though he was getting dropped, his game plan seemed to kind of be just to, he realized he was hurt and he just wanted to kind of catch Buatsi coming in. But he, I don't know, man. It's hard to tell, obviously, from the level of opposition yet, but the kid looks pretty fucking solid. I like his stance. He looks like he's in balance. He throws brutal body shots. So, and he's he's kind of in that AJ camp. I think the greatness is rubbing off on him a little bit. So I'm pretty I'm pretty psyched for that, man.
He's nice and compact though, isn't he? Like his body, his arms close to his body. There wasn't a lot to hit. So I thought he was quite good defensively as well.
You guys think
not that he had slick movement, but he was, he's just solid looking.
You think he looks a bit small for light heavy though? I thought he looked on the small side, man.
How old is he?
He is 24.
Yeah.
Are you saying in terms of height and reach, Cam, or like just overall frame? Like
just
thickness?
Just size, yeah. Just thickness, yeah.
That's why I was asking about the age, because he might look more comfortable in a couple of years.
Well, he doesn't look like the tallest guy in the world, but I don't know. I have to I don't even know his measurements. I gotta kind of compare him to the top guys in that division, because I think his opponent was taller than him. It looked like, as far as I remember. But I mean, he's a unit though, man. Like he's got some muscle about him. I'm not quite sure if he can still grow or not. But I like the way he stands. He looks damn solid. The way he positions his legs and his hands. And yeah, it's not like he's a static target just because he's got his hands up. He's got some movement going on. So I don't know. I was very impressed.
BoxRec have him at 5'9.5", and his opponent Carlos Mena, who he fought on Saturday, at 6'1". I think 5'9.5" is small for a light heavy, man. I think you got to be at least over 6 foot.
That is pretty.
That's short. That's short.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, maybe that's going to be his style. Maybe he's going to be like the shorter, stockier come forward pressure fighter that goes to the body.
Yeah.
The shorter you are, the easier it is to get them body shots in, right? So maybe that's the kind of style he will adopt. Did you guys watch him much in the amateurs?
I watched him. Well, me, Leon, and Neota watched him in the Olympics. I didn't really watch him in the amateurs apart from Olympics, and we were really impressed last summer.
What was his style in the Olympics? I mean, how would you describe it?
Similar, just like very compact, straight punches, kind of going for the kill, bit upright and not too much head movement. But yeah, he's pretty solid, man.
Okay, so he was never really like a shoe shine Khan type of fighter that stays on the outside. He likes to get in and and throw some technical brawling punches.
Yeah, pro style, definitely.
He wanted to get people to the ropes, didn't he, in the Olympics?
Yeah. He wanted to cut you down, cut you off, and get busy when you were on the back foot.
Same subject, bit off topic. So, like when Josh first turned pro, I was a big fan. But over the years, like the Sky Hype machine and the fact that like Joshua and even Buatsi at times, like, they seem very scripted, man. Like, I don't think he's as bad as Josh, but I can see, like, over the years, me just starting to hate these guys, man, where it's like, they're not speaking their mind. You can tell they're thinking about sponsors, they're thinking about this, they're thinking about that, and I do like when guys are being real and being themselves, and it puts me off, man. I know, like, when Leon used to kind of shit on AJ back in the day, and, like, I used to defend him, and then, but yeah, man, they just become a bit too corny, because I saw some like 2.5 minute advert on Twitter from Matchroom, like basically, like we had like this AJ one when he's young and he's getting caught by the cops and he sees his mom. I think that it was the Lucasade one. It's basically like an extended
Lim's favorite.
Yeah, Lim's favorite one. It was like an extended version of that for Buatsi, who's making his debut. It's like there's too much emphasis on like these Olympians, man.
And what
so you
is it like Iron Brew like Lucasade or what?
You're breaking up then a bit, Kimo.
Sorry, I was saying, was it like a different drink instead of Lucasade or
no,
what?
It wasn't even a drink. That's what I'm saying. It was just Matchrooms basically like hyping everything up.
But that he's with AJ's management, isn't he? So he's going to go down that route.
Yeah, he is, but I don't know. It's just me. It's just me being a dick. But yeah, I don't like it, man. I'd rather than these guys just be themselves. But
you know what the thing is, Cam, though, with that, like, even though, like with AJ, for example, even though he is fucking boring in an interview, and I literally had another moment last week when I was watching an IFL interview with him, and I had to switch it off after like 6 minutes maybe. Like, usually I don't even last that long, but I was like, oh, fuck it, let me just watch it. And yeah, he's just not a very fun personality, but he does keep it real in the fucking ring. So I don't really mind that, Like, he fights with his heart on his sleeve. He doesn't mess about. So if you look at the White fight and the Klitschko fight, like, he goes for the fucking kill. So at the end of the day, I don't even really care what he says if he gives us fights like that,
Yeah.
I thought AJ was great in that interview, man. That Cockney bit that he had me in tears, bro.
You're a fanboy now, though. That's why.
Nah, man. AJ's the truth, bro. I can watch every single minute of his IFL interviews, no problem.
And he's no fucking Cockney. He's not even fucking London.
Leon, to outside is Watford is London, so.
Yeah, outside Zone 4, not London.
That's a different story. But Lim, did you see his protege Buatsi then, or what?
No, I didn't. Is he similar ilk?
He's an exciting guy, man. I think you should really check it out. I mean, there's some good HD versions of it on YouTube. And nice. He's like a mini Femi, man. He's really skilled.
Really? No, I heard great things about him. Obviously, he was a highly touted Olympian, and just hearing Cam praise about him, like, I know he's going to be pretty good just based on this analysis alone. So I'll definitely check him out. But does he have AJ's personality though?
Does he have his what? Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Personality, yeah, he does.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay. If you say that, I mean, if he has his personality, then I'm sold then. You know, because that's the most important part of AJ that really stands out to me is his humility. And
it's not the quadriceps.
Maybe a little bit of that too. And you know, oh, by the way, guys, you guys need to direct me where I can buy some Lucozade when I land in London. I want to stock myself up in that shit so I don't sleep at all for the duration of the trip. But I don't know what I'm talking about, dude. I don't know who the fuck Boazzi is, but I'm excited to see you guys. And yeah, it is funny. I just saw that Lucozade commercial last night before I went to bed. So it gets me every time, man. The part where AJ is on his bicycle and playing soccer, and when his mom like touches his hand and he's like shaking his head, it makes me very emotional.
Ah, shit. Nelson, did you catch this Boazzi debut?
No, I didn't.
Have you seen the Lucozade commercial, Nauta?
Yes, I have. It's pretty amusing.
Should we do a review of the Lucozade commercial?
Dude, you can buy Lucozade in every fucking shop, by the way. Just go to a small supermarket or a 7-Eleven, you can get it.
Don't drink it, Lim. It's full of sugar, man. It's like half of your daily
tank
allowance.
That shit.
It's like Gatorade, I imagine.
It's like your half your daily allowance of sugar, man. And I know you try and stay healthy, so keep away from that shit.
Okay. Anyway,
he needs to get amped up, man. He needs to do it just like Joshua, like his hero, Femi, man. Got to be like Femi.
Kimo, before you jumped on, Leon and I were talking about Conor Benn,
the Destroyer.
Yep.
He's an absolute fucking knockout waiting to happen. I love the Sky commentary regarding this guy. Like, apparently he went out for 7 months and then came back a new guy. I don't know who that. I don't know who that new guy is. I don't know where
Jesus.
Yeah, he's like resurrected. Like, I mean, everybody kept saying like, he is a completely new fighter, and I saw exactly the same thing. So I don't really know who they're talking about, but maybe they're talking about his dad because he's also planning a comeback apparently. But it's. I mean, he fights exactly the same way. Maybe I can give him that offensively. His technique has maybe slightly improved. You know, he's maybe just turning his punches a little bit better. You know. But I'm talking like minor details, not something that stands out, you know, when you first watch it.
But he doesn't have he might have a similar style, but Ben was so good at shifting his weight and getting on the inside. He doesn't have any of the natural talent his dad had. I'm not saying that he had a lot, but he was a much more devastating fighter, wasn't he? I mean, he would have just young Ben would have churned that guy up in a round, wouldn't he?
Well, you're talking about like shifting weight and maybe technique, right? But for me, the most important thing that he doesn't have, you know, which is the most obvious one, is his dad's power.
Yeah,
you know, his dad had, you know, the freaking touch of death, man. People were fucking scared of this dude, and Ben is, you know, Conor Benn. He doesn't. I don't think he has power at all. He has trouble getting rid of guys, even when he's hitting them flush. And part of it is technique because he gets too anxious and he starts throwing wild shit with poor technique, but he just doesn't have natural power, man. It's so obvious.
Go on. I was going to say, Daddy Ben would just leave people on the floor like they've been hit by a taser. So, I mean, he doesn't have any of that, does he?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, if you look at the level of opposition, like he has to throw an insane barrage of punches just to get a knockdown. You know, it's really not that impressive. And the problem with that is, you know, he's so wide. His chin is straight up in the air. And sometimes after a combination, he does some weird, you know, like, I don't even know what to call it. It's not pivoting and exiting. It's just leaving yourself out there to get cracked. The moment he fights a guy that can counter and has a little bit of pop, he's gonna go to sleep. I mean, it's too obvious. I hope for his sake that he has a really good chin, but I don't know what the game plan is with this guy, man. Where are they going to take his career? I mean, I know they're hyping it on air, but they must know, in their heads that they have to be really, really careful who they match them with, right?
Well,
I hope they're not that stupid.
That's my rant, Gamo, because the commentary team, the ringside analysts, Spencer, Oliver, and AJ was there, and they're just bigging him up, saying, "Oh, he's potential as a future world champion, and he's still young. Yes, he didn't have an amateur background, but these are his learning fights. We have to keep that in mind, so the opponent level isn't going to be that good." No, the reason why he's not had an amateur background is because if he travelled the UK as an amateur, the way he is, he would have such a bad losing record that it wouldn't even make sense to turn pro. That's why he totally skipped the amateur game, because he's not talented enough. And now they're saying, well, he's young, he needs these learning fights. Well, either go into the amateurs, that's what the learning period is there for, or don't turn pro. They're just living off the father's name, man. Even like his brother that he doesn't speak to, and I had a rant about him a couple of weeks ago. It's the same situation. They've not tried to establish themselves in some other career. They've just thought, you know what, my dad's a boxer. They've got these yes men around him, and they said, yeah, you're good on the pads, and they just start to think that they're better than they are, and they're gonna be in for a rude awakening, man, because soon as they get stepped up I think someone English level, or maybe just above, maybe that British level, would totally ice Conor Benn easily. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Like, he seemed like a good kid, and it's not against him personally. I just don't like it when people get skipped forward because of their parents or because of whatever. Like, you've got to put the grind in, man. Like, boxing, it's not a game where you can just skip forward and be in football where the son of the manager gets elevated to the first team because he's the son of the manager. No, man, the worst that you can happen is that you might break your leg because someone tackles you. And this, man, you could end your life, man. I hate this shit, man. Proper, it really gets to me, man.
Wow,
Hey,
that's intense.
Did somebody spike your tuna sub this morning?
I think they may
Yeah,
have.
jeez, I didn't ever expected this one.
I think they may have.
You gotta grind, man. Boxing is, you don't play boxing.
No, but Cam's right. He is like an archetypal Instagram fucking fighter. He's always taking pictures of his fucking cars and stuff.
Going to the gym in your Lamborghini Huracan.
Calling everyone a hater. I'm going to get the haters. We're not haters, you fucking moron. We're just fucking. We're just looking at what we see. You know, it's like
he posts a picture of his car like hashtag shut down the haters. Hashtag shut down. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag.
Oh, he's always blessed. Everything's fucking blessed. It's fucking infuriating.
But yo, Cam, can I just ask? Go on.
No, I was going to quickly, two quick things. I hope they keep hyping them up for, like, let them go mental with the hype, because the meltdown is going to be fucking glorious. Like, when that fucking thing crashes, you know, it's going to be fucking amazing. And one quick thing, you know, the pivoting stuff you were talking about, Chemo. What was he doing? Like, he was just standing in the corner of the ring. The guy wasn't even throwing punches, and he was like pivoting around, like trying to avoid shit. It's like, nothing's happening, dude. Fucking calm down.
Yeah.
Like, he'd walk away and start pivoting.
Yeah, he will bend at the waist a lot, you know, and like move side to side with his upper body when there's no action. He just, like, that's how he comes forward, you know. He's like, does this little, you know, like he's trying to style on a guy in a street dance off, you know. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is, man. But I quickly wanted to ask, because I kind of remember this vaguely. I don't know if it's correct, but didn't he start boxing at a very, very late age, but he was never interested in as a kid? Am I right saying that, or how did he kind of get into this?
That's the story. It's like he's been doing it since he was like 17, 18. Is that about right, Cam? He's not as young as we think, right?
He's 20.
Is he like 20? Is he only 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he's 3 or 4 years he's been fighting, maybe.
Yeah, man, he's a fucking novice. And Cam, to get back to what you said as well, I think it's not only a counterpuncher that's going to bother him. I think the first person that's just willing to take one, to give one, is going to bother him. You know, somebody with a good chin that just knows how to take a shot. and will just stand in the pocket. You know, somebody with the mentality of the pig. You know, just to name drop a little bit. Somebody like that will fucking stand in the pocket and just murder him. But
what weight is he? 140.
This fight was like at welterweight, but he came in at 148, and Michael was in 145. But he was like a 1 day or 2 day replacement because the other dude pulled out.
So they're thinking he's going to be a 140 kind of guy around that.
I think he should be. Yeah, I think he should be 140.
Well, look now. He doesn't last with British level fighters now, does he? He's nowhere near that.
Well, do you think he's like 4 years away?
They all beat him.
Do you think he's like 4 years away?
Yeah, I don't think he should get. If he's 20, if he's 20 now, he shouldn't be getting near even a British level fight until he's 25.
The problem is now Sky have to like string him along for 4 years.
I'm telling you,
don't underestimate them, Cam. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Let them build it for 5 years, and then he'll be 19-0, and then just get fucking vaporized somehow. You know, it's gonna be fucking amazing. And I like that, I like his dad, but it's just all this shit. It's just like, we don't need to see this. Like, go away and do your work. We don't need to see. No one wants to see this.
As long as they keep him on undercards, you know, as a kind of supplement to an undercard, I'm kind of okay with it. If they start putting him as a headliner against, you know, just absolute taxi drivers, then it becomes a real issue. But I don't think
he's been on pay-per-view fights. He's been he's been nearly co-main, like that kind of stuff, you know, before the main fights on 2 pay-per-views already. And I know it doesn't really mean anything because it's not his pay-per-view, but I mean, that's just crazy stuff.
Yeah, but are you talking about an AJ pay-per-view? Because you know that guy doesn't. But then he doesn't. I mean, AJ doesn't need an undercard, right?
But you're still pumping a dude up quick, aren't you? Putting him in that position.
Well, I mean, like you said, I kind of enjoy it because I know this will end very, very dramatically. I mean, there's no way around it. They really have to scrape the bottom of the boxing barrel to keep the level of opposition the same. I mean, if you look at the type of guy, you know, like I think somebody at the level that like who was that guy that fought Marcus Morrison? You know, somebody like that. You know, just a working class, you know, like dude that likes to box, knows how to take a punch. You know, with a hell, even a 50-50 type of record. You know, a guy like that will fuck him up, man. I mean, they're going to have to keep a really, really sad state of affairs in the ring to keep him winning. So let's see, man. They can only push their luck for so much. So it's going to be exciting. Or maybe they'll cash him out with a big money fight, you know, with a Eubank maybe. Isn't there another Eubank floating around apart from Chris?
Yeah, there is.
Dude, it's like Game of Thrones, man, when they're looking for all of Robert Baratheon's bastard sons. And version of that. Like,
it's literally like that. It's literally like that in the UK. They could just take any Eubank, even if it's a cousin, and match him up with a Ben, and people will fucking tune in, including Leon.
That's pay-per-view and ITV.
Boxers coming out of the woodwork, changing their last names. Yeah, I'm a Ben. I'm Ben Jr., the ninth. You know what I mean?
The bastard child of Ben. Yeah. Do we still need to talk about this, Cam? I want to move on to the star of the evening.
Now, just got a few more. Lawrence Okoli, I don't really rate him. He's pretty wide and wild with his punches. I saw Isaac Chamberlain on the Facebook portion of the undercard, and I think technically he's a lot better, so I'd favour him, even though he's got a few flaws, not as many as Okoli.
He would ice Coley.
Yeah. Shit. No, he's not got that much power though, to be honest. He's only got 3 KOs out of 8 fights. But
dude, Okoli is a lanky, clumsy motherfucker, and I am also a lanky, clumsy motherfucker, so I can say that. He is not good. His footwork is terrible, man.
Yep, he is. His balance is really poor, and he looks like a dude that would steal your dinner money when you were in high school. So I don't like him for that reason.
But if someone asked you to describe him, you'd say he's someone who's not very good at boxing. That would be the description, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and
it's just weird.
He has kind of like Deontay Wilder syndrome, where he looks like a basketball player and he just crosses his legs a lot and he just looks like all over the place. He should not be. I don't know. He should be boxing.
Yeah.
You should officially name that as some kind of hereditary disease. You know what, ma'am? Your son was born at 9.7 ounces, but unfortunately, I must inform you that he does have Deontay Wilder syndrome. Unfortunately.
How could we move on, Kimo, without talking about Ted Cheeseman?
OMG. I'm proper hyped, Cam.
You on the wagon?
Where did this come from? Why haven't I seen this guy before? I mean, I'm an absolute matchroom whore, but now this is just kicked it into another overdrive.
Well, until his last fight, we all thought he was a myth. He was always on undercards, on pay-per-view undercards, but not the televised portion, so we just thought he was a joke. So one day I actually seen him fight, and I was like, shit, the dude exists, and he's not too bad.
I think that's the fourth version of him. I'm sure I've seen at least 4 different people.
It's all about
it didn't look like that when I first saw him.
Improvements.
I don't know where that came from, man. And I'm a sucker for good names like Pigford, but Ted Cheeseman is pretty fucking good as well.
Yeah, the big cheese. Come on, how can you not have it?
Classy, man. I love it.
No, but all jokes aside, he's decent, man. Like his upper body movement, his head body combinations, man. He's decent, man.
He's like an ugly, Caucasian version of Canelo. He is with more stamina and fucking nice footwork. He's got that. Oh man, I sound ridiculous, I know, but he's got that
more stamina. How many rounds did that shit go?
Yeah, but he throws punches without giving a fuck, which is something Canelo does not do. Canelo throws a combination and he's like, I need to rest for a round. Cheeseman just goes in there to destroy. And he has that Golovkin thing about him where he's always like sliding perfectly to cut the ring off. And man, I fucking loved it. I'm on the hype train, man. I'm leading this shit.
That's good to hear. As quickly,
cheese.
I said to you guys over the weekend that I was happy to see Sky name dropping Warren fighters. So they talked about Anthony Yard, how they're impressed with him. They mentioned Liam Williams because he's got the British at 154 and Cheeseman fights at 154. And in the post-fight, Eddie Hearn was like, yeah, like if Liam Williams has kind of done everything now, hopefully if he vacates, then maybe Ted Cheeseman can fight for the title. And I saw a tweet today. Liam Williams tweeted Hearn and said, 10K and you can have the British title. Which I thought was quite good. But yeah, they also mentioned Ryan Walsh and Liam Smith as well. So yeah, like from never mentioning anyone that from the other side of the street, like they've done a 180 and started to name names, which is good to see, man. Because at the end of the day, there are other British fighters that your guys may possibly fight in the future. So
did they mention? Did they mention that? I didn't watch it. Did they mention this fight coming up at all? The O'Hara Davis Josh Taylor fight.
They've been tweeting all day about it.
No. I didn't ask that question. That wasn't what I asked. Did they mention it on that show? I
honestly can't remember if they mentioned the fight, but they might have mentioned.
Didn't.
I think they mentioned like other good people in that division. I think they mentioned Taylor.
So they didn't mention the fight that their fighters in a week.
I don't think they did. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah.
I don't know either, man. I was too busy.
Shit.
I really don't know. I was too busy cheesing over Ted Cheeseman, so I don't know.
Lastly, I saw a lot of tweets when the main event finished, and people were like, "Oh, this fight saved the card," because up until that point, like, it's probably the most. I probably follow a lot of Matchroom haters on Twitter, so I see a lot of their feed, but it was probably the most negative I've seen of a Matchroom Sky card in a long time. Like, it was getting a lot of shit posted about it, and a lot of people said like Buglioni Summers fight kind of saved the card. I disagree. It was a fun fight between two average guys. Like, Buglioni got a strong start, and Summers came back a bit towards the end, but it wasn't like an amazing fight. So Yeah, I think people are going a bit overboard saying it saved the card, but it was a decent scrap. Like Summers, I've never seen him before. His record suggested that like he shouldn't really be a big problem for Buglioni, but yeah, he was decent, man. He came, he was tough. He took a shot. He actually tried to fire back and hurt Buglioni a few times. It didn't massively hurt him, but he definitely caught his attention. And yeah, like him and the guy Buglioni beat for the British, what's his name, Jose Burton would be a good fight, and even Summers against, I think Hearn just signed him then, so that'd probably make it difficult, but Summer against Yard would be a good fight. But yeah, that's all I got, unless you guys saw that as well.
Well, Cam, I think the reason why people were saying is save the card because it was one of the few fights that was actually competitive. Yeah, it was actually a fight where people were slightly wondering what would happen next instead of just another low-level guy getting knocked the fuck out. So yeah. I thought it was a decent fight. I mean, I was definitely entertained in some spurts. I mean, I like Buglioni, man. The wise guy always comes to fight, man. So I really I have no issues with him. He obviously shouldn't be headlining a fucking card in the O2 Arena. We all know that. There were so many goddamn empty seats.
Oh shit! It was darker in there than a cinema.
Well, actually, Cam, I didn't think it was that dark. In certain angles, yeah, it looks dark. But when they filmed the ring just before the fight starts, for example, after this referee does his little chat, you can actually clearly see the arena.
I agree, but I don't think you caught it from the start. Did you watch the whole card? I don't think you did you?
No. Man, shout out to our boy Davey, man. I watched it on YouTube.
Well, I don't know. I watched the whole broadcast live, and early on, like they weren't doing those shots where you could see like the seating from the angle. They were kind of just mainly that view going down into the ring, and like it was only like the first maybe 5 rows where the VIPs are sat that were lit up, and behind that you couldn't see shit. And I think there was a big reason for that because the place was fucking empty, and it was good to see, man, that people are actually voting with their feet and not attending crappy shows like this.
So no big sweeping camera shots across the crowd.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious where this came from, man. I have a bone to pick as well with Matt Trim because I went to JD Sports and I here in Holland, and I asked for my ticket, and they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So I was severely disappointed. I don't think that system worked very well. Otherwise, it would have been sold out, man. Because Hamada told me that JD is like massive in the UK. Like everybody goes there.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah,
right? A lot of
people go there. Yeah.
So why didn't it? I mean, I don't understand why. If you're only having to spend £100, I mean, why not?
£100 is a lot of money, man.
How much is a pair of J's or something in UK?
I'm not sure. I can't afford J's, bro.
Bled. Come on, Bled.
I'm not young guy, but I'll be like you.
What do you buy? Adidas?
I'll just buy like some standard 60, 70, 80 pound kicks. Nothing flashy.
Okay. Well, anyway, to get back to it, the arena was fucking empty. I think it was like maybe 15%, if not less. I mean, in the lower bowls, you could really just see like a few people scattered here and there. There really wasn't much happening.
I think most of the people left after Ted Cheeseman fight, man. He had like a strong following in there, and after he fought, like the place emptied out a bit. Did you also notice, Kimo? Did you notice when they were going to, the piece to camera with the Anna and Joshua and Spencer Oliver? Like it seemed all a bit low budget. All the people in the background trying to say, "Mum, look, I'm on TV," and like it didn't look like a Sky show. It looked a bit like a cheaper version of Sky, like the bootleg version.
Are you saying it looked like a copper box arena show from Box Nation or something?
Possibly.
There wasn't enough competitive fights for it to be that.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah. Of course, what do you fucking expect? I haven't even fucking got going yet on the standard of this shit. Honestly, wow. I've been saying it for a while now. This is what he's doing. He's lowering the standard of fights and cards on supposed, your free Sky fights. He's just lowering it to make the standard so anything that's on pay-per-view looks even better and bigger and better. When do you think we'll get a world title fight not on pay-per-view this year. First of all, I can't remember if we've had one or not, but I'm pretty sure.
Luke Campbell against Linares will not be on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Was Crawler Linares this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe that would be the one, because I bet you that Luke Campbell Linares thing ends up on a pay-per-view card. It might not be the headline, it will end up on one. I just think, so this is what we're going to get now. That was basically a next-gen card without the next-gen hashtag, wasn't it? So this is what we'll be getting from him on a regular basis, I think.
But it's you know what the thing is, Leon? It's a trade-off for me, right? Because on the other hand, you have this card, which I mean, it's kind of like a next-gen card packaged as a stadium fight, or an arena fight, which it's not, But so on the one hand, we have this shit being served up, but on the other hand, you get these absolutely amazing casual tweets that just entertain me throughout the entire day. I mean, there were so many gems again this week. I just fucking love it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
I gobble that shit up.
It has its upsides, that's for sure, but
I could always rely on you and Brian King to just pick out a few gems. It's just fucking amazing, man.
But
it's so easy.
Some of them so amazing though. Some of them are so amazing. I think. Are they trolls? Are you basically picking up a troll, but he's not a troll? He's like, I can't tell. Sometimes they're so crazy, these tweets that people put out.
Well, I mean,
it's difficult.
Once you actually
treat them all the same.
Once you look at the profiles, actually, there's some dodgy ones in there, right? Like I saw one which was saying, "Oh, great card, Eddie," blah blah blah, and then you look at the guy, and it's like 22 followers. I don't really know if that's a legit account. Yeah, it could just be bullshit. Like done by Matchroom or something, and then Eddie retweets it. I really don't know.
I love how people start blocking people and deleting their tweets, though. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, some of the best ones are like when people are asking, why is it not on pay-per-view? As if that like diminishes the product, Like, oh wait, there's a fight. Why is it not on pay-per-view? Does that mean I shouldn't be watching it? Like, fuck, man. These people are retarded.
Crazy. Anything else about
this?
Look,
I'll tell you one thing. It proves Eddie Hearn really does hate Paul Smith, because Paul Smith has never even headlined an arena, even a small arena, and Frank Buglioni's headlining the O2, and Paul Smith's getting fucking sent out to Germany to get his shit pushed in all the time. It's weird how Eddie works, isn't it? Like, why is Buglioni? I know it's a kind of a bit of stand-in for White, but I mean, he treats his fighters very differently,
Well, I saw somebody tweet the other day that Paul Smith probably has like a Klitschko type of USB stick on Eddie Hearn with a bunch of dirty shit on it, that he just keeps dangling in front of him, and he gives him all these title shots in the airtime, man. Because you say he hates him, but why the fuck would he lobby for him again to get a title?
That's I know. I'm kind of joking a bit. It's weird that Hearn, you're told that these people are stars and they never do anything, and then you put on a whole card of Frank Buglioni's fighting some guy we've never heard of as a main event. It's just horseshit.
Hashtag summertime brawl. All right, guys, we've killed loads of time on that. I just want to quickly.
Great name. It's a great name, Cam.
Summertime brawl.
Too much.
Just quickly, last week we didn't talk about it because we didn't have a show, but on Friday there was a next gen card, and quickly, Josh Kelly should be called Machine Gun Kelly, man. That left hook. Multiple shots was nice, but opponent wasn't that good. Looked at his corner. His corner said stay down. Looked like he wanted to continue, but listened to his corner. Bit of a shit opponent, to be honest. But Josh Kelly, man, those left hooks were nice.
Oh, Ed loved that, didn't he? He was fucking glowing after that one. I think that was, 6 left hooks in a row? Something like that, yeah. Fuck, man. I think he's learned the dark arts of Adam Booth, man. It's really this kid could be something, man. But he has to fight somebody with a pulse. We can't say anything before that, but technique-wise and his explosiveness, wow. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the hype crept on me there a little bit as well.
Yeah, I was impressed with that. But Fowler was on the undercard.
When is anyone going to be surprised that you've been sucked in by hype?
Anyone half decent.
Just wait till a few days in Glasgow.
Oh,
you got to see what fucking hype is.
I'm not looking forward to it anymore.
Leon, you still have 1 day to cancel your trip, so think what I do.
Oh no, I'm finding a way out, I think.
Quickly, Fowler Chemo, yeah, he fought on the undercard and he was just getting clipped with shots, man.
I thought you guys were honestly a bit exaggerating because I hadn't seen the fight yet, and you guys were all Fowler is getting, hurt. he's getting buzzed.
No, we didn't say he was getting hurt, but he was getting clipped with shots, man.
No, Leon literally used the word buzzed, but when I watched it,
I
was
buzzed. Like, that's why
he didn't get buzzed.
He got fucking buzzed off a jab.
See, just because you guys hate this guy so fucking much makes me want to support him.
Good. Support him. Fucking glad. You fucking keep him.
You just love his Scouse accent. But let's quickly move on. We'll come back to Pacquiao, but I didn't manage to watch the fight. There was a terrible 160p version on YouTube, but it was Michel Sorrell fought over the weekend, fought Brian Carlos Castano from Argentina. The fight was in France, and Sorrell lost on a split decision. Kind of closest cards, man. But yeah, Chemo.
Hang on. Aren't we going to talk about my girl on the next gen card?
Natasha Jonas.
With the most beautiful Scouse accent there is.
Talk about her.
Awkward silence.
I ain't got nothing to say. She's Southpaw brethren, but that's all I've got attached to her, man. She's not that good. Katie Taylor would ice her. I know they fought in the Olympics.
I think Katie Taylor is like light years above any woman that I've seen in a long time. So can't really compare. Yeah, but she doesn't look overly impressive, Cam. I do agree. But I do like her personality. I've always enjoyed seeing her on TV and in interviews, but yeah, I don't know. She doesn't. With Katie, I feel like I'm honestly.
Oh, you're the worst.
I'm not bullshitting, man. I'm honestly for female standards. I feel like I'm watching something special. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree. And they fought in the Olympics, but there's only like one version on that on YouTube, and someone zoomed in from the crowd, and it's hard to take a lot away from it because head guards and stuff. And I think just from the eye test, what Katie's done in the pro game, just how professional she looks and how her style is more of a professional style. Like Jonas has still got the amateur hop, and she just looks like an amateur, man. Like everything about her style screams amateur, where Katie just looks like a beast.
But look,
that would
don't
change,
worry.
Cam.
Yeah, exactly. When Joe gets his hands on her and really sorts her out,
and makes it worse.
She won't throw anything for 6 rounds.
You stole my point.
That
was such an obvious joke to make.
The best thing is though, did you see him wearing a Natasha Jonas T-shirt?
What about it?
So it's got NT on it. No, it's not got NT. So it's got TJ because Tasha Jonas, which also is the initials for Tesco Joe. So it's like a 2-in-1. It serves 2 purposes.
My highlight was when she got the stoppage that Joe just rushed in and he gave it quite a little bit of a snog there on her cheek, man. He got in there, Tesco Joe. I was like, oh, look at this.
Tesco Joe, he's looking more and more like a day drinker all the time, isn't he? Like someone goes to the pub at like 11 a.m. in the morning, stinks of biscuits and shit. He's the fucking worst.
And he took that all over the weekend because Marcus Morrison lost the 4-rounder, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
you got to tell me about that. You got to tell me all the details.
I ain't got no details to tell.
Televised, right?
There's no footage.
All I know is it was a fight in Derby, as far as I know, and he lost the 4-rounder. So.
Oh wow, his soul has been snatched completely then, huh?
Oh, he's done. He's finished.
Wow,
didn't Tesco say he was the best guy in the gym a while back and stuff like mental.
Maybe he's got the best body in the gym, but he's not the best fighter for sure.
Yeah. All right, Kimo. Finally, let's go one-sided again. None of the panel today basically picked Manny Pacquiao as the winner of that fight, so you're more on our side.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I'm absolutely appalled by what's going on with this, and I'm not even that upset about it because I really did not care much about the fight going into it. So I'm not emotionally invested, so I'm not going to freak out like, with the first Kovalev Ward decision, but here it's something I just really do not understand. I've never had this before in all my times that I've watched boxing, where I have a fight that I so clearly scored for somebody with no bullshit rounds, no swing rounds, no doubts. Where I'm just literally watching around, and as soon as it's over, I'm thinking, okay, easy. I'm just noting it down. Not where I'm thinking like, like with Kovalev Ward, it was always like, oh god, he threw a body shot and that guy threw a right hand. What do I score? In the first 7 rounds of this fight, Pacquiao wasn't doing jack shit. I don't know what anybody was watching that thought otherwise. I don't know what the fuck those punch stats mean. I don't really even acknowledge that. I look at my own.
No one does.
I look at my own visual, because the thing is, when you argue about punch stats, it's a simple fucking mathematical question, like punch stats are over the entire fucking fight. If somebody throws a boatload of punches in the last 3 rounds and doesn't throw shit before that, technically, you could have 1,000 punches in the last 3 rounds. Doesn't mean you won the fight just because you landed and went through more. It's a fucking 12-round scoring. Simple.
People you were using those punch stats over the weekend like they were written in stone on the fucking part of on the commandments. Like there's no way they could be fucking questioned.
Yeah, but
who's doing this shit? Yeah, what the fuck who is doing this? Don't just screen grab me some top ranks punch stats like it means anything.
But you know what the thing is, Leon? Like if somebody sits next to me and watches a round and says, "Oh, I scored that for Pacquiao because he landed more clean shots," I can't really counter argue that easily because it's a purely visual thing. But when you argue that overall punch stats equal a victory, that is just factually and mathematically completely incorrect. It's not how a fight is scored. It can be skewed across a small number of rounds, and you still got schooled in the other rounds.
And that's assuming that it's accurate in the first place.
Okay, but that's a whole different point. But it's just like it holds no merit in scoring a fight. The fight went to a decision, so the punch stats don't really fucking matter. But anyway, regardless.
Yeah, a guy could land 100 punches in 1 round, and it doesn't mean shit, does it?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you lost the other 11,
yeah.
It's just so retarded. But anyway, because obviously those stats are kind of swayed by, I think it was the 8th round, right, where Pac had him hurt.
Yeah,
that's the best. The 9th, sorry. So that's the best example, where all of a sudden, the Horn's output is absolutely minimal because he's just surviving, and Pacquiao's throwing and landing and throwing and landing, and then somebody's sitting there with a ticker going click 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 click. Oh, all these power shots are landing for Pacquiao. Yeah, but that was 1 round, and the round wasn't even scored 10-8 because he didn't get dropped. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in boxing, I know in MMA we have this, but in boxing, unless you get dropped, it's not a 10-8 round.
No, you can score 10-8 if somebody just gets completely battered.
It's a very grey area, though.
Is that in the rules, though, or is that just something that we think in our heads?
No.
A judge is allowed to.
They allow. Yeah, the judge is allowed to. But
okay.
There was a 1 or 2 10-8s on when Pac fought David Diaz. Also, he didn't drop him, so he finally knocked him out.
There's no real criteria that really lays out exactly what.
But it wasn't a 10-8 in the first fucking place.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could tell, like in the aftermath, that Pacquiao wasn't all that effective aggression wasn't all that effective, considering the fact that his gas tank was fucking on E the rest of the fight.
Well, just to get back to it, right? And this is what I saw in the first 7-8 rounds, right? I saw from the get-go, Horn took it to him. He came out, he started moving well. He landed a few right hands. He landed the body shots, man. He switched between the outside, the outside range, and then the inside. Yes, I got fairly criticized today that I should also mention the fact that he was using some dirty tactics here and there, because I kind of ignored that initially, and fair enough. He did do that. But on the other hand, he did exactly what you should do against an old veteran, man. He came out, he made a fucking statement, he threw punches, he wasn't holding back, and Pacquiao wasn't doing anything, man. I mean, Pacquiao always gets very frustrated in like clinching, rough type of fight anyway. Like, he doesn't really know how to do it. And also, you know, like, he's a small guy compared to Horn, man. Horn looked fucking huge in there. And at the end of the day, you know, take away the dirtiness, which is obviously bad, but the activity, the punches thrown and the punches landed were from Jeff Horn, man, at the end of the day. I mean, I'll bring out my scorecard. I literally scored, and I can give you maybe one swing round. The first 7 rounds, for me, were all fucking Horn rounds, with maybe the third being a swing round. I mean, the rest of it was fucking obvious. Pac didn't land his left hand. He didn't land any jabs. Not many. So I don't know what the fuck you want me to say. Like, he really just wasn't doing anything. I don't know where all this outrage comes from. And that already creates a situation where he's behind in the scorecards. Even if he, you know, has a 10-8 in the 9th, are you telling me he won every single round after that? No. I mean, my card was 116, 112. I can see it maybe 2 rounds closer towards Pacquiao. But that's it, man. That's the max. You know, he didn't win that fight, man. I mean, it's very clear cut. I thought Horn fought the fight of his life.
But single shots as well. Pacquiao was throwing single shots.
But I don't understand where this theory comes from, where people saying that Horn wasn't landing. I mean, if you are really that delusional, just watch the broadcast again. And plenty of times they show replays with Horn landing clean. And the body shots
Horn landing clean uppercuts right to Pacquiao's fucking face against the ropes.
Yeah. which is another good point, by the way, because he was also the more diverse fighter. He was landing right hands, he was landing jabs, he was landing uppercuts, he was landing body shots, man. Every time he got Pac on the ropes, he would fire off at least a combination to the body, and that landed. That wasn't always blocked, you know. So
yeah, well, and it clearly landed because you could tell that with Pacquiao's stamina got reduced by that.
Yeah, man, you saw Pac backing up a few times. He wasn't feeling it, man. You could see.
Yeah, and there was one time, it was either in the 6th or the 7th, where he landed like almost like an off-angle jab, and almost looked like a hook, but it was a jab, and then Pacquiao just fell forward after it, he was hurt by it. You know, it wasn't like, oh, like Horn can't punch, and even when he landed, he wasn't hurting him. That was bullshit.
But Chemo, people are saying this is like 9-3 to Pacquiao, like a schooling. Like, I just didn't see. I said it earlier in the show. I've seen Pacquiao school people, and it's devastating, and he beats them up. That just didn't happen.
It's madness. It's complete madness. I've never heard. I mean, I've rarely heard something so outrageous in my fucking time as a boxing fan. There is no fucking way. I mean, 9-3 is crazy. I don't know. I honestly don't know what you're watching. I mean, maybe that's kind of like the Mayweather syndrome, where he lands one clean punch and then you score the round.
Oh, yeah, the irony. Oh, yeah, the irony. Oh, beautiful.
Even that, Leon, I can't even argue that. Like, there's just no way. There was no ring generalship. There was no slick movement from Pacquiao, you know, that maybe looks fancy in front of the judges. He looked uncomfortable and frustrated. He didn't look like he was in the right place. He looked old. His legs are a little bit shot nowadays as well. Like, he looks heavy on his feet, doesn't he? He just
he did that night.
He was frozen in place throughout most of the fight.
He was pretty plodding, man. I mean, it's obvious that he's not.
Well, a lot of high guard stuff, wasn't there? A lot of high guard work, you know. So
yeah, I mean, he's pulled that shit in the past. Yeah. He's pulled that shit in the past. He did it, for example, against Cotto, where he just stands there and puts up a high guard and lets him tee off on it. But he's not the same guy anymore, man. We saw a younger, fresher, hungrier, you know, with a focus on hungrier dude that just took the fight to him, you know, and he won, and he's got to get the credit, man. I don't want this fucking guy.
It's gone. They're
to get death threats like Tim Bradley and have his you know, his kids and his wives fucking mistreated because he won a fight that he rightfully won. You know, like, what the fuck, man? This is insanity.
I think Atlas got everyone really wound up, because we were seeing tweets from people in the States from like other sports and stuff, but I've never seen tweet. And you look through their Twitter, and they've never tweeted about boxing ever. Fuck once.
Aaron Rodgers. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Shove it up
your
ass,
not once.
Fucking cocksucking bitch. Fucking punk.
Not once.
Why don't you try a fucking real sport for once, you fucking pussy?
But not once did he ever tweeted about it, and then it's just like it was weird. Like I was
exactly.
so
I
shocked
could
by
give
the
less
reaction.
than a shit what all these fucking pussy boys from other fucking sports. Oh, he fouled me. Get the fuck out of here, you flopping bitch. Fuck off. Fucking talking about boxing. It's a man's game, you fucking punk.
Damn. But I have a question regarding this, though. I wanted to ask this actually all day already. Like, is there any like backlash in terms of anger from ESPN because Pacquiao lost and they maybe thought they had some sort of, cash cow on their hands? I mean, I
think it is.
I'm not really into this. Anyway. I'm not really into this whole ESPN deal. I don't really know what it means for them, or in the long term, especially. How many fights they were going to do, but it seems to me like ESPN was kind of hyped up for this, and they were like, "Oh my God, we got a legend like Manny Pacquiao on our quote unquote free TV." And now it's fucked up because he lost in the first fight, and all the appeal is gone. Like, what is this about? Is it just an angry backlash, or what is it?
Well, yeah, I think that's part of it, and then I think the other part of it is Stephen A. Smith and Teddy Atlas's dumb fucking asses spent the last 5 months talking mad shit about Jeff Horn and shit. Even before this fight was actually official, Teddy Atlas was talking shit about Horn and how he didn't have a chance, and that colored his commentary the entire way through, and colored his scorecard as well. Because even as Jeff Horn was beating the dog shit out of Pacquiao, he fucking was saying like, "Oh, Pacquiao, he's landing the straight up punches, and he's throwing the straight up punches. So I scored the round for him." Shut the fuck up, you old bitch! The fucking idiot can't even fucking understand what he's watching now because he has such a fucking hard head that he has to go in there and make the shit happen what he said was gonna happen because he can't go back on anything that he said before. He can't fucking admit that he's wrong ever. And Stephen A. Smith looking like a fucking idiot out there, getting completely roasted and ethered online by Al Bernstein. Mad props to Al Bernstein, by the way, for exposing that little fucking punk.
Well, Stephen A. Smith is just a clown, and I don't really take him seriously. But what I do have an issue with...
Plenty of people do. And the whole thing is when you're going to be on a boxing show talking about boxing, you should know what the fuck you're talking about. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, calm down, Nikki. Calm down. But it's like... But the thing is with Atlas is he kind of took it to a whole grand stage where he started talking about corruption and like this is bad for the sport. Yeah, and actually,
he does
I was
that every
thinking
time. He's a histrionic bitch.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like actually, what happened is good for the sport. Like that's why I'm feeling like I'm in a reverse type of world. Like
we have a new name. We have a new name at what's with.
We have a new guy that came with a breakout performance. He has the ability to fill up a fucking stadium. It's kind of an available but new market at the same time. Australians love their sports, man, but they apart from maybe, Katsitas or whatever, they never really have these, at least recent times, these big stars, and you just have a guy that beat a legend. So the torch kind of gets passed on a little bit. So why is that bad for the sport? Like you're shitting all over this young guy that's so pumped, and I don't want to sound like a over dramatic here, but like he's super excited. He won. He's saying, "Oh my God, and I'm gonna have a kid and this and that, and my beautiful wife, this and that." And then you get this fucking, aggressive old guy standing next to you. I thought you lost. I'm like, what is this, man? Like seriously, Atlas is a fucking dick, man. It's like, I know you find him entertaining, Cam, but he was so out of line on that broadcast.
No, Atlas is my man, but I felt so bad for Horn at ringside when Teddy said that to him. I thought the guy just fought out of his skin, and you're just blatantly fucking saying you lost, man. It was terrible.
And you know what? It was actually a good fight as well. Like, it was a decent scrap, right? I mean, there was definitely some action parts, the drama in the ninth, and Horn coming back strong. It was a good fight. So why are you, when boxing finally gets it right, you're going to start shitting all over it as well? Like, these are the few times that we actually should celebrate. And to get back to what you were saying, Cam, like, Horn is such a nice guy. He was just polite, I mean, fuck, man. If I was there and this guy's shitting all over my achievements, I'd fucking go mental, man. It's like you worked for this your whole life, man. And then
you could tell that even Bradley was uncomfortable because the shit happened to him. You know, they're the commentators and all that is the reason why he got all those death threats. I put the blame squarely on them for that. At least with Horn, he has plenty of fans that'll back him up and will kind of battle against the hate that he's getting, but at the same time it's unwarranted.
But the problem is Bradley lost the fight. Horn won the fucking fight.
No, but even still, the whole thing is when you're in the fight, fucking fighting, you feel like you're winning the fight if it's anything close.
Yeah. This is a fighter's mentality, right? They always.
And just like when Bradley was fighting Pacquiao, the crowd was booing. The crowd was booing because they expected an execution, just like they expected here, and that's not what they fucking got.
Yeah. This was definitely. I mean, I expected an execution. It was the exact opposite. I think that's all I got to say about this, Cam. One other thing, I've always been a massive Pacquiao fan, massive, and I just want to see him retire at this point. I don't think he's got anything left to prove. So if he ends up fighting a guy like Keith or whatever, I'll be happy to watch it. But
do you see
it's really not necessary.
You see the Horn rematch?
I think it probably will happen. Because it seems to be like all the outrage is just building up a big rematch. I saw one joke about Pacquiao-Horn on pay-per-view rematch. I wouldn't be surprised, man. There's a big story here now that's created out of nothing, and that will be a narrative, that will create a whole hype around the rematch. If they put it in Australia again, that stadium will probably be, packed to the fucking rafters, man. So. I think it probably will happen. Sadly enough.
Naota,
and there's a rematch clause, right?
I think there was.
Yeah, there is.
Naota, have ESPN ever done like a ESPN pay-per-view?
I don't. I think they might have. To be honest with you, I think there was
other
one.
Sports or
there
something?
was one time. No. Like with boxing, I'm pretty sure there was one. I can't exactly tell you when it was or who was in it though, but I remember specifically something of that nature.
I could see some shit like that where it's like $20, so it's not extortionate, but it's just enough to maybe pay a bigger wage to Pacquiao or some shit like that.
Well, I mean, a lot of it might depend on what the contract they have at the top rank generally, though. Because I mean, you got to think Lomachenko, Mariaga is going to be on there. Crawford versus Ndongo is going to be on there. And I think a big part of the reason why they were so pissed is because they wanted to have Crawford versus Pacquiao. I think they wanted to lead up into that with Crawford versus Ndongo. And so when it started not going their way, they started creating this entire alternative narrative, and they completely ran with it and beat it to death in the aftermath of the fight.
Yeah. Sad, man. It's really sad. I'm more disappointed by
fake news. ESPN is fake news
than any other robbery that I've seen, man. It seems like a generally good guy, Horn. And he came out of nowhere and shocked all of us, and then he doesn't even get the fucking credit.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get into some quick news because kind of burnt a lot of time already. Nikki just touched upon it. Lomachenko is going to be fighting Mariaga on August 5th on ESPN, and Crawford is going to fight Julius Ndongo, unify the belts on August 19th. Chemo, basically, is just HBO going out the game or what? Unless, maybe PBC collapses and they manage to get contracts with other promoters, Golden Boy main events, and then put their fights on HBO, or it's basically is this the end for HBO?
I don't know about the end, but I think they've had one foot out the door already for a long time. I think they're still in the Canelo / Golovkin business, but yeah, they just seem not to be really interested anymore in putting out the content that they used to. The days of the good old days of boxing after dark, are way gone. So.
No, well, I mean, in a way though, in a couple of weeks, the triple header and then the super flyweight triple header as well. I think that those two cards in particular actually harken back exactly to what Boxing After Dark was really about. Evenly matched fights against top level fighters, whether people were as familiar with them as they should be or not. I think those are really underrated cards. To be honest with you,
well,
people I think are too big of star fuckers in this sport.
I just don't think they got enough content though.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't.
Overall.
They're not putting on enough shows. Because I remember like in the early mid 2000s, there was like great fights pretty much every other week. Every other week there was high level championship fights. I mean, like if you go back and watch it, like Lewis versus Klitschko, it'd be like, oh, coming up next week on HBO. Like I'm probably way off. It'd be like Moscow versus Rockman 2 and Barrera versus Morales pay-per-view coming in 2 months or whatever. You know what I mean? And shit like that is the way it used to be. It was like constant cycle of excellent fights. And yeah, unfortunately, they've fallen way by the wayside in comparison with
nowadays. You get like coming up on HBO, like it's one fight, and then it's like coming up as well. It's the fight game with Jim Lampley. Yeah. That's it.
I was gonna say that. I was just gonna say this. They got more episodes of the fight game than they have fights.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shitty ass program as well, by the way. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Loma Mariaga fight? You guys dig it, or is it disappointing?
I did want the Salido rematch, but like Mariaga impressed me so much against Valdez that I think that's a good fight.
It's not a bad fight, right? But I do think he's a bit made for Loma, to be honest. Yeah, he's gonna be dancing smoothly around him, man.
And he's not a super featherweight either.
Yeah, he's a bit tiny. So yeah, man, I don't know. Loma is. I've come around a little bit with him. You know, I do enjoy watching him just for the sake of watching him, just because he's a beautiful fighter to watch. But again, I do want a little bit of an elite opponent.
Mariaga has a chance insofar as if he has that I don't give a fuck attitude, if he takes that in there against Lomachenko. Because the problem is, just freezing up against him and watching what he's doing rather than reacting to what he's doing. And Mariaga, I think, might have some of that Maidana in him where he could give less than a shit about your rep or your hype or whatever. And he goes in there, or like Horn did to Pacquiao. He just goes in there and attacks the way that he
hang on, because actually, now that you mention it, I didn't even realize this. So is he only moving up now for this specific fight, or has he already taken like a tune-up at the weight?
No, he's always been a featherweight.
Yeah, his last fight was that Valdez fight.
So he's literally just going up in weight and challenging for Loma's title.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to stay there, if he's going to go back down, but yeah, he's going up to face Loma.
Yeah, if he loses, I'm sure he's going back down. He was only, I think, 131 on Fight Night against Valdez, something like that.
Yeah, but that's kind of, now that I think about it, that's kind of bullshit, though, man. It's not really an acceptable fight.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, for him, obviously, he's going to get paid way more than he otherwise would against anybody else, pretty much. So, of course, he's going to jump at the chance of it. But beyond that,
just because his face has been on TV.
And so far of who we should be demanding Lomachenko fighting, he's not even really in the top 5 or maybe even the top 10, realistically speaking.
Kimo, what do you think of Ndongo versus Crawford?
I like it. I like the fact that it got made straight away as well. I think it's good. I'm happy for Ndongo, man. This guy came from fucking nowhere. I am a bit... I think Ndongo, though, man, I think he might get schooled. I'm a bit worried about him, man. He's nice to watch. Like, he looks like a dangerous guy, like the sheer size of him and his output. And he's quite athletic, He does seem to be a daunting guy to face, but I have a feeling that kind of upright, stance that he's got. I think Crawford's gonna fucking take it to him, man. I don't know if he's gonna struggle a little bit with the range at first, but I don't really remember Ndongo using his range that effectively. He just seemed to be me as a kind of strong, high output type of guy, as far as I remember watching him, and. I think there's levels to this shit, man, and Crawford is I've doubted him in the past, and he really is elite. So I wouldn't even be surprised if Crawford stops him late.
All right, moving on. Leon, Jamie McDonald, and Libero Solis have agreed to a rematch, which I think is good, man, because I thought Solis easily won that first fight and got a horrible robbery, which I had to throw my TV out the window because I said if he gets robbed, I'll throw my TV out the window. So Good rematch, Leon. Leon's gonna.
I think Leon's too busy quoting me in a tweet that says "My mini Joshua." Joe Gallagher's gym about Marcus Morrison.
Sorry, I muted myself because I was tweeting stuff.
Fucking classy.
You like Pacquiao at the press conference just on your phone?
Exactly. No, the McDonald rematch is good. It had to happen. You know, that's the right thing. Is it in Monaco again?
I hope not. Hopefully it's somewhere more suitable. But yeah, Nicky, you think if it's a fair judges, do you think Solis will win again, or do you think McDonald will adjust?
No, I think he'll win again. I mean, I think McDonald might be able to start off a little bit better this time because I think he might have some things to learn from the first fight. But at the same time, I think the weight might be kind of hurting him a little bit. Whereas Solis seems to make it just fine. And just the way the first fight went, Solis controlled the action pretty much throughout most of the fight. I mean, McDonald had his moments in the mid rounds, but even in the later rounds, Solis was able to come back right there with him and continue to just bludgeon him with that right hand, especially. Hopefully he gets a rematch, and I think he'll win, and he'll be, clearly the number 2 recognized guy in the division, which is really where he belongs, frankly, right behind Yamanaka.
Okay, I don't think anyone cares about this, but Billy Joe is split with Booth, and apparently he's getting trained by Dominic Ingle in Sheffield. I'm just tired with Billy Joe, to be honest. I'm not really bothered unless you guys want to skip and move on.
No, as I said,
fuck Billy Joe. Fuck him.
I think Ingle loves just throwing towels at Triple G. That's why he signed him up, isn't it? Because he's going to get fucking iced and quit when he fights him.
He thinks they have the blueprint to change Golovkin forever. That's what he thinks.
Yeah,
I don't understand. Don't you think it's a weird thing, Billy Joe going all the way up to Sheffield? He lives down in near Joshua. It's a strange move for him. He's not the most disciplined guy.
But then he says,
he can just take his trailer there, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that a racist thing for me to say? I don't know.
Some would suggest.
I don't give a fuck.
Let's move on. Kimo, you made it to my attention this week. Flanagan, Verdejo, possibly in September, and also Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury in Manchester, so most likely on the same card in September. The Fury fight, I'm not even going to talk about until maybe the week before, because I just think any fight involving a Fury, there's always some controversy about it. The fight doesn't happen, or there's some drug shit, or there's some spongy ring, or some bullshit. So that's my view on that. Flanagan Verdejo, I actually don't think it ended up being a good fight. On paper, I think it's a good fight, but I don't think the styles will gel. Flanagan's just too dirty, man. Too many forearms, pushing down, clubbing the back of the head, man. He's just too dirty. If it's the ref that's on inside, man, Verdejo won't get any freebies, and he'll just get frustrated. And I don't think it'll be a good fight.
I'm not even going to comment until you pronounce his name correctly, Cam.
Verdejo.
Do you have the soundbite?
Felix Verdejo. Felix Verdejo.
But Cam, I agree with you fully, man. I'm sick of Flanagan as well. I don't know.
But
I kind of jumped off the wagon.
Rumors are that Huey fight might end up on Sky, and that Flanagan Verdejo fight might be fucking dead in the water.
How are the rumors that it's going to be on Sky?
There was pictures of him with members of the Sky kind of crew at the Fury gym, like filming something, like on Instagram or somewhere, and then just on Twitter. That's been going on today.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Steve Lillis and Buncey were pushing that fight hard, and they might have lost it. Go ahead, Kimo.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying pre-motorcycle accident, Verdejo, I would pick him to beat Flanagan. I always thought he was a talented kid, man. I always liked his movement and his combinations. I thought he was a natural boxer. Yes, he's got problems with his fucking hands. Yes, he still had a lot to learn. But in terms of raw talent, I thought he would be miles above somebody like Flanagan. The problem with Flanagan is he just creates a very ugly, difficult fight, and I'm not quite sure if Verdejo is ready to do that. But I have my doubts that this fight is even still going to fucking happen, man. I mean, when is the last time this guy's been in a ring? Did he come back after all the nonsense in the motorcycle accident, or he had a little fight in between, right? Or what?
Yeah. No, he had a comeback fight. I want to say a few months ago, if I remember correctly.
He did even. I don't even remember that. But
Oliver Flores.
He fought in February.
Back in February.
Yeah, but Kimo.
And how did he look? Was that televised?
I mean, yeah, no, it was, but I mean, he looked like Verdejo. I mean, I'm sure a guy that he probably should have knocked out, but he went the distance.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, after that, his trainer was saying like, I'm disappointed in him, and like he's not really developing and shit after that fight. I'm sure I read it on Boxing Scene, but I disagree, Kimo. I think pre-accident Verdejo, when he got to a point of fighting decent opposition, like early on when he was just blasting out nobodies, he was looking really good, but like. Lim will probably attest to this as well. When he stepped up in competition, like he was very basic, man. Everything was like just a 1-2 and
when they tried to put him on HBO.
Yeah, he just was very basic, trying the same routines. If it wasn't working, still trying the same punches, wasn't adjusting at all. So I don't really rate him that highly. I think that's why actually Bob was thinking, I'll just send him over to the UK. If he wins, bonus. If he loses, I think Bob's kind of done with him a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would be done with him anyway if he treats his professional career like this and starts, doing fucking funky tricks on a motorcycle and puts himself into some serious shit.
Wheelies.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like a Danny Garcia music video. I mean, he acted like a fucking idiot. Anybody knows that a motorcycle is a vehicle of death. Seriously.
Jumping out of those foreign cars.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of foreign broads.
No, we'll see, man. I maybe you're right, Cam, but honestly, I don't even rate Flanagan that highly. So I don't think he's gonna outbox Fajadio. I don't think so. He's gonna have to fuck him up a little bit with the rough tactics, and then hopefully that will work out for him. But again, Verdejo, if he fights him in Manchester, he's gotta put a hurting on him because he's not getting an easy decision.
Yep, Leon. Kid Galahad was fighting Dennis Seelan on the Eubank Arthur Abraham undercard, and that's been called off because Seelan tested positive to cocaine. So that's another L for the Eubanks. Shame.
Kid Galahad can't catch a break.
Cam, I don't think any professional fighter should be banned for recreational drugs. It doesn't bother me. Let him fight on. If it's not performance enhancing, fuck it.
Hang on. What did you say he got caught for?
Cocaine.
Fuck it. Who
cares? Why the fuck does the fight get cancelled then? That's stupid.
Drugs are drugs, man. Drugs are bad.
That's weird. I know an MMA fighter that got caught for it, and he wasn't kicked out of a fight.
When was
in the States?
Who was this?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if Lim is still on, but John Jones got caught for cocaine. And
that's right.
The funny thing is, they announced it and kind of ruined his entire image, but they didn't penalize him for it in terms of the commission. So it was a really weird situation. It's like, hey, dude, you're a cokehead, and we're just going to announce that publicly, but you're good to fight. It's like, what the fuck? So I don't know how it works in the UK, but I mean, it's not a performance enhancing drugs. Well, maybe in the rave, when you're doing
I just think it's
you're doing your moves. It's definitely performance enhancing, but not in the ring.
I just think it's just the fact where drugs are banned, so even recreational drugs. But
man, it's probably, you gotta think of the children.
Yeah. All right, Kimo, some big ass news, man. The the World Boxing Super Series. We have the super middleweights, but the cruiserweight division. Knockout tournament looking pretty amazing, Kimo. Have you seen the draw? Well, the draw hasn't occurred, but have you seen the entrance?
I actually haven't caught any of this, so feel free to update me on it.
So basically, all the champs are in there. So Usyk's in there, Gassiev, Bradis, and Doricos. Former champs Marco Huck and don't know how to pronounce Christoph's surname with Rax. And then also possibly talking about Krzysztof Glowacki, the former champ, and Dmitry Kudryshov, Leon's favourite fighter. They might also join, so that will make up the 8. So this truly will be whoever wins that is probably the best cruiserweight in the world.
Wow, that's pretty intense, man. I don't think Marco Hook will be able to speak after this, man. Jesus Christ. This is an intense lineup.
I don't think
I'm down, man. Is this my boy Kala again doing this or what?
Your boy Kala is involved, yeah.
Fucking hell, man. Speaking of cocaine, I love that guy.
Hell of a drug.
He's awesome. He's putting in the work, though, man. He's staying up late nights. You know, he needs that fuel. So good on him, man. Bless him. It's good for the sport.
Yep. So the draw is going to be made on July 8th in Monaco. They're looking at the quarterfinals to be in September/October this year. The two semi-finals early 2018 and the final in May 2018. And I'm not 100% sure, but I presume the super middleweight tournament will be, at the same time. So you'll have the cruiserweight fights and then you have the super middleweight fights. So initially when it got announced and there was no names involved, I was a bit skeptical, but the super middleweight one is looking a bit shitty, to be honest. It's just kind of like George Groves and Jamie Cox, who's not that good, and a few other, I heard Bramer's going down from light heavyweight to super middle, which I don't think is going to be a good idea, and Eric Skoglund, and that's the only people I know so far. So that one's not looking too hot, but the cruiserweight one looking pretty.
Cruiserweight one is the shit. That's a fucking tournament right there, man. That's right up there with, when Showtime did the Bantam and the Super 6 tourneys. That's excellent.
Leon, you love your cruisers, man. What do you think?
Fucking so excited. It's just what the sport needs.
Yep.
But who do we think's favourite?
I think you'd have to say Bradis, probably the favourite.
Yeah. I mean, this is the real test of Usyk, isn't it? Everyone says how good he is. This is, you got to give props to anyone who's willing to get involved in this tournament, because there's a fucking murderer's row, pretty much.
Who's the weakest? I think so. I think like Marco Hook's probably the weakest link.
Oh, 100%.
Or Larochik.
Do you think like Kudryashev's got like an outside chance?
By the time you get to semi-finals, there are going to be some serious fights.
Yeah.
Like, you're not coming out of any of those fights with an easy night, I don't think.
No.
Even Hook, I mean, he might be shot, but I mean, you never know. He might be able to pull one good performance out of himself.
That's the thing.
He is a savage.
That's the great thing about knockout tournaments. Yeah. If you just have one good night and the other dude's off his game a bit.
Cam, is the plan to
bullshit.
Is the plan to kind of do in terms of the fights and the timings and all of that and the locations? Is it similar? Is the plan similar to the Super 6? Have they said anything about that they're going to do because I think with the Super 6, I mean, obviously they went all over the place, right? They went to the States, they went to Europe and all that. But I think some fighters did. They had like 2 headline fights per card, right? Do I remember that correctly, or was it always one? Like when Froch fought Kessler in Denmark, wasn't there another same type of level fight on as a co-main event, or was that not the case? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they were individual.
Yeah, they were.
Were they individual after all? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's a nice fucking event anyway to go to, man. If there's like a real good fight, Because most of these are going to be in the European continent,
I imagine what they might do for this is either have 2 fights, 2 of them on the same card, at least to begin with, or split site, so they'll broadcast them both, but they'll be 2 different sites.
And then maybe air it on the same night, yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. God bless the Sauerlands.
Yeah, it's pretty much all throughout Europe, so I don't think it'll be that difficult, I'd imagine.
Do we have all the belt holders apart from Tony now?
Yep. Well,
Tony is the prize. He's the Lucien Boutte.
He's the Lucien Boutte, yeah.
Yeah. But Tony has bigger and better plans, man. He doesn't need to worry about this measly tournament.
He's getting
worried. No, why would he want to prove himself against the best fighters in his division where he has a belt? I mean, fathom. I mean, why wouldn't he?
Because he's going to heavyweight to make that money, bruh.
Quote unquote ASAD. Or hashtag, really. Hashtag ASAD.
Hashtag finish the mortgage payment.
You guys have seen any other news you want to talk about?
Nah, nothing to think of.
All right then, boys. Let's get into the fight that we're all meeting in Glasgow for. Kimo, you go first, man. Who you picking? I know you're a big Josh Taylor fan, but I don't know. I was watching a bit of both dudes before the podcast went live, and I'm a bit concerned.
I am concerned as well, but I'm honestly happily concerned, and I'll explain why. Because I like O'Hara Davis as well, and not just because he's a matchroom guy. I like a guy that's willing to put himself out there, and the way that he trolled the McQuiggins, was just fucking. I mean, I thought it was quite genius, actually. Like, all of them were just sitting there waiting for it to kick off, for him to kind of start selling the fight, and then he didn't. He just kind of fuck with their heads all the time. And then afterwards on Twitter, he starts talking bullshit again. I enjoy his Twitter game as well. I don't know, man. I really enjoy his personality. I know a lot of people hate him, and they're trying to say that he's trying to be like a fake Mayweather or whatever, but I don't really agree with that, man. I mean, he even got in Mayweather's face at one point, standing up for himself. I like the kid, man. He's got some balls about him. As a fighter, he's a lanky bastard as well. He's got some reach on him, but I don't know, man. His feet seem very slow compared to Taylor. I don't know how it's gonna look next to each other in the ring, but I don't know. It seems to me. And again, this is all very theoretical because I really don't know how this fight's going to play out. But it seems to me like Josh should be able to kind of freeze him a little bit with his movement, get on the inside, and just start ripping to the body. I don't think O'Hara will have a good inside game. And how is it going to play out? Oh, man, I really don't fucking know. I know I got to make a pick. So if anything, I'll probably pick Taylor by decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if O'Hara wins. I think we're all going to make picks, but I think we all realize that it's at this stage, it's very, very hard to truly know what's going to happen. The level of opposition that both guys have faced, just doesn't reveal a lot about their game, about their chins, For all we know, man, Josh Taylor is a fucking glass chin waiting to happen. We really don't know.
Yeah.
That's what makes this fucking fight so exciting. That's why I'm so happy it got made. I hope O'Hara still steers some shit up at the last press conference, but I've already enjoyed the build-up enough, man. It's going to be fucking amazing. I'm so happy to go there and meet all of you guys. I mean, that's going to be some crazy-ass shit. If anybody's listening and is in the neighborhood, get your fucking ass down there. Let's party. I'm pumped, boys.
I'm looking forward to it. Also, Leon, how do you see it playing out? Leon's still smoking away.
Fucking anticlimax after that speech, man. What the fuck?
Sorry. Look, I was going to ask Cam what he saw because he watched him recently. I haven't watched any of stuff on them yet. What he's worried about with what he saw in O'Hara, because I'm intrigued because I don't really have a handle on what kind of fighter he is.
Yeah,
he's a bit static.
Yeah, Kimo was right about his feet. He has got slow feet, but he's got fast counters. And even though the left hook is pretty wide, it's quick, and the straight right counter is fast as well. And my concern is when you watch Taylor, he throws that jab, but it's just to kind of get a closer jab so he can step in, and everything's really about the straight left and the right hook to the head or the body, and then just go from there. If he's in range, then he'll just let shots off upstairs and downstairs. But my concern is when he does try to get close, I'm worried that O'Hara might just catch him with the left hook because his hand goes low. Once he throws that jab, his hand goes down to his side, and O'Hara looks like he's got power on both. So if the left hook's not working, then that long right hand, because he's got like a freakishly long wingspan, man, and the long right hand might just cause Taylor problems as well. And with O'Hara's jab, he kind of punches it towards the stomach as well, so he might just be able to control Taylor not getting in. He might just keep him on the outside. So there's a lot of variables, man. That's why I'm really looking forward to it, because I think once we see that first round, we'll know everything about how the fight's going to play out. That first round would tell us everything.
Yeah.
Well, it depends, Cam. I mean, I have a feeling they're going to be very tentative, don't you think?
I don't know. Like, you're talking about the build-up, and I actually think, O'Hara's really got Taylor kind of rattled, man, because every comment you see on, like, Twitter is like, you pussy, wait until the the fight night. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna do this, do that. And like, I love banter, but I think that's beyond banter. I think that he's really got into his head, and I think that might work against him. I think that might just use nervous energy during the fight. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it.
Because I think there's one thing that, going off that your point, is I think that O'Hara's kind of quite happy to be a bit passive, if you know what I mean, and let Josh come to him.
Yep, I agree.
And just kind of play a bit possumy, kind of, and just kind of let him, get that if he's really is like raging and fully up for it. Just like, all right, just let you kind of use that against him. But I like Josh, and I think, like Chemo says, I think he can kind of get O'Hara a bit like stuck in glue if he's moving and, giving him angles. O'Hara doesn't move that well. He definitely pulls back in straight lines. So it's really interesting, but I think that reach advantage, if O'Hara has the ability to use it properly, could be a problem for Taylor. But I think Taylor looks like Taylor on the eye test. I'm picking him on the eye test. My pick would be Taylor, possibly by stoppage.
You know what I picture sometimes, Cam? Like and this is purely based on kind of watching the Derry Matthews fight. I see O'Hara, he squares up a little bit sometimes. Like, he doesn't really stand properly, and he kind of just waves his arms a little bit, trying to keep a little bit of range on his opponent. I sometimes foresee him just, not standing really properly defensively, and Taylor just kind of just getting in quickly, going to the body, and then just opening up the head and catching him with a hook over the top after the body shot. I kind of just visualize that. I can see that happening. O'Hara looks like a tough motherfucker as well, so I don't think he's going to get him out of there. And one thing that worries me about Taylor is I kind of see that in him. Is he's a guy that puts pressure on his opponents. He fights with a lot of energy and a lot of momentum, but I can also foresee if it goes into the later rounds, he is a guy that fights on kind of tension a little bit, that he starts tiring out. I'm worried about that, and I could see that happening. And if O'Hara starts fucking with him a little bit as well in the ring, and he can't really get him out of there, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. There's going to be a lot of tension. It's like, oh man, I cannot wait. I'm so pumped.
If Josh Taylor struggles to get on the inside early and gets caught with a few counter hooks or straight rights, I think that's going to make him tentative to try and get on the inside, and that's my concern, because I think that's where he does his best work. Like, if he's not able to get on the inside, then he's fucked. Then Taylor's going to win easy. Davis is going to win.
Yeah. How well do you rate O'Hara's power?
He looks good, man. The hands are fast, and when he lands clean, he looks like he lands with decent power. The hook, I think, is least powerful because it's so long, and so it looks quite awkward when he throws it. But it's fast. But the straight right, he's definitely got good power with the straight right.
I do agree with you that he can be like deceptively fast sometimes, because he looks a little bit clunky sometimes.
His feet are slow, and like he's very
It's like he's taking, he's stuck in the mud. He takes these steps sometimes, and he flays his arms around a little bit. You saw that against Derry, like all of a sudden, pow, he fires off a combination. That's deceptively fast. So,
but he's not got the most wide range of shots. But I think Josh definitely has that advantage. The ability to throw the shot from an angle or the shot he doesn't see.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on O'Hara being able to box, and based on an outside game with some discipline and skill and keep Taylor away. I'm really not sure about that.
I think
he might surprise me, but I'm not convinced that he can really properly implement that and just outpunch Taylor like that.
I actually think just going to the body on O'Hara is going to be difficult because those long ass arms, like majority of his fucking upper body's covered. So even just finding openings to the body are going to be difficult, I think.
I think Chemo's right. I think you could see O'Hara unravel quite quickly. I think discipline would be his biggest Achilles, But do you think O'Hara's the bigger guy? I haven't kind of worked out who the bigger, stronger guy is.
Actually, Taylor is
I
looks
think he is,
much bigger next to him, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He fucking. I was so surprised by that because I thought O'Hara was massive, and when I saw them next to each other at the press conference, like Taylor is the bigger guy, and even O'Hara was calling him "you lanky motherfucker." And I was like, "What?" I was surprised. Taylor is massive, really, really strange. I somehow did not visualize that before, but well, let's see it at the weigh-in, with the shoulder length as well. But I don't think O'Hara's the bigger guy, man, at all.
Well, his reach is definitely bigger, but yeah, height-wise, in the press conference, he looked very small compared to Josh, but. Yeah, Neota, I know this is like a big fight for us over here. You may have seen either guy fight before. Have you got an opinion?
Opinion-wise, honestly, I'd say it's fairly even. I actually slightly favor Davies just a little bit. It's hard to tell. I mean, these are two guys on the come up.
Is it because he has an urban style? Is that why?
He's clearly more athletic, Kimo. That's why. But yeah, no. I mean, Taylor's good though. Actually, I'd say if anything, Taylor's a little bit more proven than Davies is, at least from what I've seen, and like in terms of stylistically speaking. And I mean, he does, like you were saying, he does look a bit stronger, like a bit more sturdy at the weight and everything. I don't know. I think Davies might be able to kind of deal with him though. I don't know. Like you were talking about with the arms being able to cover his body and such. I think really that's where Taylor's going to want to go against him for the most part in order to really make it pay dividends. And I'm not sure if he'll have as much get as much done. I mean, it's a totally different kind of scenario from like say Easter versus Shafikov. But I kind of see a similar type of a fight breaking out between them, except for I think Davies will be a little bit more successful on the inside as well as on the outside. But I mean, I think it's a very good, close, competitive fight. I just slightly favor Davies, but that's not to say that I don't give Taylor a shot at all, because I think it's pretty much 50-50.
Anything else regarding this fight? I know the card's pretty terrible. I look to the undercard and it's basically non-existent. So I guess we'll get there just in time for the fight. We're not following Daniel Lim's timekeeping because he seems to get late to every fight he goes to in Vegas. So yeah.
Can I just give my prediction for the Davies-Taylor fight?
Have you seen either of them fight yet?
Yeah, I saw some highlight videos of Davies for the past half hour.
Go ahead then.
I think it's kind of crazy to me that this fight is like 3-1 in favor of Taylor. Last I checked, it seems like they're.
If that's true, I agree with you. I do think that's crazy if that's the case.
No, I mean, I'm not. I mean, obviously I haven't watched much, but I did see enough. Like, I'm not. I've seen Taylor fight before. Like I'm trolling when I say I haven't seen either of them fight. I haven't seen Davies too much, but I have seen some of his recent footage lately. And I mean, not to sound overly, overly generic, but Davies does have some athletic attributes that make me favor him over Taylor. But obviously, Taylor is just a longer, lengthier fighter, and I think his ability to dig to the body is kind of one of those just one of those advantages that I think is going to pay dividends down the road. But I don't know, man. Who am I fucking kidding? I don't know who to take. I just think it's a good match. I'm like, honestly, dude, I'm more excited for fights like these than Canelo Chavez and then I don't know, just name any fight that I've been to this past year, because this is fresh matchups, and I'd rather go into a fight really not knowing much about two highly touted prospects than having to see shit shows that I've been too accustomed to in the past. So I'm just looking forward to a good day, at the fight, and hopefully we can watch more than 2 fights this time around, because I haven't breaking that record in God knows how long. So I definitely think I'll get my money for it. But did we find a 6th person to take to the fight by any chance?
Hopefully Enrichi will come, fingers crossed.
Okay. I told Cam this, Timo, but if the waitress and Nando's is a 6 or higher, I'm going to ask her to go to the fight with us. So I just wanted to get your permission beforehand.
I fully support that. And I think you should announce the Nando's Coalition Appreciation Night while you're at it as well, Lim.
I did like an hour and a half ago, and I got lambasted for it.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I mean, seriously, dude. Like, I've asked Cam to create like a poster, you know, and then put it on our Twitter feed. I'm serious, dude. This Friday at 8:00, you know, dress code and sports. Unless you're wearing an t-shirt, otherwise you have to wear like full on, you know, formal attire. You know what I mean?
I'm glad I'm getting in at 10:00.
No, anyway, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I haven't been to a lower level card like this in quite some time, and I think the issue with a lot of these overly kind of glorified and then publicized, you know, fights, especially the ones in Vegas, like they feel very sterile. You know, they don't have that actual kind of rawness, like IFL likes to use sometimes in their video titles, but it just doesn't have that feeling of like actual boxing fans watching a fight, you know, between two young, hungry prospects. And I think that's the part that I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh, it's gonna be fucking wild in there. It's gonna be fucking wild in there. So yeah.
No, honestly, dude, I do want to watch. I am gonna watch, you know, fights of Davies and Taylor on my way over there because it is a 10-hour flight, obviously. But if you guys have any other recommendations, that's like undercard that I should, you know, watch, study up on.
Nah, the undercard's trash, but watch the Taylor versus Dave Ryan fight. Watch Derry Matthews versus O'Hara Davis.
I saw that one.
But honestly, that fight doesn't. I know I mentioned it a few times, but that fight really doesn't tell you a lot.
It doesn't. But it's
we all love us some dirty Derry, but he was shot the fucking shit on that fight.
Yeah, he was fucking finished.
No, that's fair. Only reason I mention it is because it's kind of his most recent fight. But when he fought that Italian dude, O'Hara, I didn't think O'Hara looked that
Scarpa.
good. Scarpa, yeah.
Scarpa?
The guy that iced, was it Hibbert? Scarpa who beat Hibbert. Yeah, O'Hara didn't really look good in that performance, man.
No, he looked shit that night.
Yeah.
Very one-paced, wasn't he, in that fight?
Yeah, just kept doing the same thing. Just 1-2.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm kind of worried about is, like, Davies seems like the slightly more skilled fighter, but Taylor's just so much bigger than him. It seems like.
Well, height-wise or not, he isn't. It's just the reach, Lim. Like, he's got a crazy.
I know. Like, he just looks like a full weight class bigger than him.
Who, Davis looks bigger than Taylor, or vice versa?
No, then Taylor over Davies.
Yeah, he does look massive. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. I don't know how that's going to play out in the fight, but I was pretty surprised by that, man.
Is it a 10 round?
12.
Is it 10 or 12 rounds?
12.
Oh, wow.
12, baby.
You know,
Yeah. That's the thing. We don't know what their gas tanks are like. Either of them, really.
Well, O'Hara did go 12 with that Scarpa guy, so.
Yeah, but he wasn't involved in a fight in that fight, was he?
Yeah, that was like
half-paced
fight. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. So that could be interesting to see if it goes like 8-9, who that affects, you know, first, because it's going to affect them both. Because I don't think they haven't been through many of these fights, but who does it affect first?
Well, like
could be a big decider.
Josh Taylor's not been beyond 8, so
exactly. So if you're Davis, that's what you got to be thinking. Try and take him late.
Yeah, makes sense. Good point, Leon.
About time.
Anything else regarding this fight?
Nah, bruh. Just too fucking pumped.
Yeah, me too.
So when are we gonna actual venue? Are we gonna watch like every single fucking fight?
Nah, the undercard's not that good. I say we maybe get there for about 8:00 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Let's enjoy Glasgow a little bit, man. Who knows, man? Maybe we can get some pictures with Frampton as well. I think he's going to be on the commentary team, no?
Yeah, he'll be in there.
Show.
If Conor Benn's in there supporting O'Hara Davis, Kimo, you going to try and get a selfie?
Get a kiss,
Conor Ben?
like.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we didn't talk about that little kiss on the post-fight interview. That was a nice one.
We're not going to.
I was waiting for that.
No,
I sound so fucking creepy right now, but yeah.
Yeah,
no, Conor Benn, no. But if AJ's there, AJ likes O'Hara, right? Maybe he'll be there. You never know.
You never know.
We'll need to change Lim's underwear straight away.
Take a spare, Lim.
Take a spare one, just in case. Femi's in the house.
Only wear Under Armour compression shirt.
Yeah, he'll be fine. They're all dry fit, right? So.
Well, I do wear MeUndies sometimes. I think the promo code Fighter and the Kid. That's 10% off.
All right, we need
Enter
to.
the promo
All
code.
right, Mark Maron.
We need to wrap it up soon, man. We're burnt almost 3 hours. Same time as that card. There's that card in London at the Copper Box. So originally it was Billy Joe and Kurt Seedis, but that collapsed. Obviously, most of you know the story behind that. Now it's not the greatest. Darryl Williams, Jermaine Smile rematch is on there. I think that's a bit too early. I think both guys should have had a bit more time out and recovered from their cuts. You know, some of them are going to start opening up. Daniel Dubois was fighting Julian Fernandez, Mexican heavyweight 5-0. So hopefully he's not just going to come and fall over. Anthony Yard, Chemo was fighting a guy whose name sounds like one of your favorite dishes, Richard Bariani.
Okay. Where's he from?
Where is he from? He's from Hungary. Something that you are quite often.
Wow.
On the puns. Killing the puns.
Killing it tonight. Bradley Skeet's trying to win the British title outright against Dale Evans and Gary Cochran.
And not to mention getting that highly anticipated Pacquiao title shot, man. Skeet's got his eye on the ball.
Was it Pacquiao or is it Jeff Horn now?
No, I think it's still Pacquiao.
And Gary Cochran, who fought Liam Williams last year, he's fighting Larry Akandayo. Leon Woodstock's on the card as well, but he's only in the 6th rounder. That's about it. Huey Fury's on it against TBA at the moment. And that's about it. I haven't really got much to say about it. It's one of those Frank Warren cards that starts off good, but just kind of...
I bet there'll be some good fights on there.
It ended up being good, but yeah, it's not as good as it was when it originally got announced. So yeah,
no.
Disappointing.
But that was a great fight, though, wasn't it? That Billy Joe versus that little nutter.
Kurt Seedis,
fucking lunatic. but Billy Joe's like, oh fucking hell, man. He got lucky, I think, didn't he? Mouthing off.
He got off easily again, man.
Yeah,
he did. Philippines.
He could have ended up cut up in a fucking suitcase, couldn't he?
Buried in a hole in the desert after getting beat down with baseball bats.
Yep. Mark Magsayo's fighting in the Philippines against Daniel Diaz on Saturday. And what else we got? There's a card in Russia on Monday. I think it'll probably be on around the same time as the podcast, maybe a bit before. Dennis Lebertad's fighting the Australian Mark Flanagan. And Dmitry Mikulenko is also on that undercard. So that's about it for next week. You guys got anything else you want to talk about fight-wise?
Former champ Moises Fuentes versus Ulysses Lara. Easy fight for Fuentes. Down in Mexico.
There's contraception fighting again, I think, isn't it?
How is he?
Contraception is fighting? Against Discount Mart or what?
I'm sure I read it somewhere. I might be wrong, but I'm sure he's fighting somewhere.
Let me see. Oh, I'll check.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hamada.
He's fighting in Panama on July 5th against Ronald Ramos on the 8th rounder.
That's what they got listed because they had Luis De La Rosa listed for.
I'm looking at ESP rankings. Maybe it's not being adjusted. Yeah, Luis De Rosa's on the box rec, so yeah, it's still 8 rounds.
Yeah. What about we didn't touch up on the Tampa Telemundo card.
Go ahead, Lim. Break it
on
down.
July 7th. You got Sammy Valentine versus Giovanni Santillan in a 10-rounder. 2 really highly touted.
It's a great fight.
And then two really high bantamweights.
Actually, isn't Neota's homeboy Teofimo Lopez on that card?
Yeah, he's fighting Christian Santibanez, another highly touted.
Now Teofimo's legit though, man. He's
a murderous puncher.
He is a murderous puncher though.
The most is the Espanol Silvia Torres versus Maria Soledad in an 8-rounder female strawweight.
Hey, don't forget about Mariano Reyes. Lim. Maria. No, Maria's like really solid in the last 2 fights. And Sylvia, she may be a murderous puncher, but Maria just has that,
So, you know what fight I'm really looking forward to the most though in the London card is that Gary Corcoran versus Larry Ikundayo in the 12 round.
Get him off box rec. Fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
seriously.
The fight in Gelsenkirchen, Germany, Francesco Pianetta versus Oscar Setinkaya. You know, 2 heavyweights.
Done pulling Cam.
Yeah, I think we got to hang up now. Now you're just taking a piss down.
Drive-by mode.
Final thought.
All jokes aside, anything else from anyone? Apart from Lim?
I have a final thought, but yeah, let's finish this up and then I'll share.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm looking forward to the most, Cam, is when we're in our hotel rooms alone. I want to watch you watch one of these bum-ass cards at like 7 in the morning in our hotel room.
What do you think I'm going to do on Sunday morning? I'm going to like go on my laptop, connect it to the TV and watch the Box Nation card. I've got it all planned out.
Okay.
With a
all right,
team
that's it
sub.
for me, man.
All right. Thank you guys for jumping on the show. But one thing we need to mention, like Jason268 has mentioned it as well, but I did have it pre-planned. But most of us on the panel, big hip-hop fans, and most of us grew up listening to Mobb Deep and Prodigy, and unfortunately Prodigy, also known as Albert Johnson, sadly passed away on June 20th, man. Complications related to sickle cell anemia. He suffered with it throughout his whole life, and he was on a tour in Vegas and took ill and was hospitalized and sadly passed away, man. In my teens, I was a big fan of, everyone from QB, Nas, Mobb Deep, all those dudes, man. Like
AC.
H&IC was one of my favorite albums coming up, listening to that. The infamous Hell on Earth, Murder Music, all that shit. Even Infamy, like people on the fence about Infamy. A lot of people didn't really like it, but like the Mobb Deep album Infamy, beat-wise, it was one of my favorites. But Prodigy,
and that first one as well, that Juvenile Delinquents, that first one, he was
Juvenile Hell.
8. Yeah.
Juvenile Hell.
8. Yeah. He was like 18 when he wrote that.
Yeah,
shit.
his voice sounded like he was 13.
Ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But one thing about
Fucking
Prodigy,
crazy
like,
record.
they always had like the drug dealing, the thing even, but he always dropped some like gems hit now and again, and he wasn't just like the obvious rapper, man. He had bars and he had lyrics, especially like when him and Nas were coming up, like they both kind of bounced off each other, man. And it's sad to hear, man. He was only young. I think he's younger than you, isn't it, Leon?
No. He's a year or two old. He's like a year or two older than me, man.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's crazy.
He was so good. I saw him live a couple of times, and he's one of hip hop so regularly is shit live. Like it can be so disappointing. I've seen so many amazing people on record, and you go and see him live, and they are fucking toilet. But he turned up all the time. I've seen him 2 or 3 times. Always fucking turned up.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Well,
I never
you
got
gotta
to see him
think
live.
he was from that era where you had to be legit live. You had to be.
Oh yeah, and I love hip.
Otherwise, somebody might fuck you up from the audience. the audience member might run up on stage and beat your ass for wasting their money.
And I love hip hop when it used to be about wearing fucking army camo and fucking high tech army boots and shit. You know what I mean? When it was a bit more dirty, less jewelry and fucking flash motors, man.
That naughty by nature shit, carrying baseball bats.
Yeah, no, just that kind of always turning up in combats. In camouflage. It's all a bit too nicey nice.
Yeah, it's a shame I never got to see Mobb Deep live. But Kima, I know you've seen a lot of hip hop live. Did you ever catch Mobb Deep?
I did actually, man. I think I was like 21 or something. I saw them live in Amsterdam. They had Alchemist as well in support. Alchemist was actually doing like a live show with the infamous Mob, like the other kind of side group.
Yeah.
Of even more like, grimy, fucking crazy guys. And I didn't enjoy it, but if I'm fair, to be honest, live. The newer songs were kind of just met with, a decent reception. But as soon as like Shook Ones and Survival of the Fittest kicked off, it was like a fucking mosh pit in the place. Like shit got real.
Motherfuckers getting punched in the face.
Yeah, it was pretty sick, man. Like that early shit is fucking hard. So yeah, man. sad. So rest in peace, Prodigy, man. Mobb Deep has always been one of my favorites. I like hip hop, but I've always enjoyed the more grimy shit more than anything else. And yeah, Mobb Deep's first few albums definitely were pioneers, man. So appreciate it.
Yeah, rest in peace, Prodigy. We'll be back next week. Peace.